Yo, 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 yo. We should be live. Let's just double check. Yeah, we are. We're doing Arc Raiders Chill, and we were checking out the election results from last night. So, yeah, chill with me for a few hours. We're going to be live tonight at 7 PM anyway, but doing a bit of chilling and some gaming, which I will, we're going to get into now. Give us a minute. Not studio lights. Thanks. What's happening, peeps? How you doing, Nickelback? Let's sort that out a bit. Yeah, Labour got a bit of a bashing last night, didn't they? Now, the only one who got a bit of a bashing. So yeah, we're going to be, Nick, we found a middle ground, so I can listen to the news, we can talk the news, I can game in between in the bottom right next to me over there. How amazing is that, eh? How amazing is that? So everyone's happy. So yeah, we're going to have this on in the background. We'll be live tonight anyway, but we're just going to go through just keep it on live and go through things as it's happening. Let's get this party started. Hope you're all good, man.
Against for reform on so far. 1, 2. Is that the returning officer? No, I'm not sure. Anyway, we'll carry on.
We'll get there soon.
We'll carry on.
How you doing, Seven, Marty?
16-2-2.
You all good?
I mean, that suggests a big majority for Reform UK. I mean,
it is a big majority. They're getting battered. And it's glorious, isn't it?
It's both those things. Reform are very, very strong in the area, and the turnout's high, but the turnout is high because...
Oh, no, it's the game next to us.
It's Nigel's hard work that's done it, and
it's the
people
game.
Really are resonating with him and his message. Look, Basildon, Thurrock, South Essex, it's a bit of a bellwether for the country. It's a place that's willing to take on challenges head on, doesn't want to muck about, wants to move forward, improve the country. It's a very patriotic...
Oh, echoey, let me look.
So I'm not in the least bit surprised that Reform are doing so well, and I hope it continues for the rest of the day.
Mr Farage told me a few weeks ago that he was pretty confident that Reform UK would win here. And you were elected as a Reform MP. Are you hoping to
Bear
get
with
back
me a sec, I'll sort it, whatever it is, 1 minute.
About Reform UK. Are you hoping to get back?
Look, I won't give you a very, very detailed answer on that, but I'm still very, very much aligned. Relationships are very, very good. You never burn bridges where you can avoid it, and I'm very, very supportive.
What are the issues here in Thurrock? I mean, I was in Basildon last night, and a lot of talk there about how the big parties have let the Basildon down. What are the issues here that are making it turn to Reform? Are we talking
the audio coming through twice, one sec.
Immigration? What are the issues?
It's both those things, but there's also some really, really serious local issues where it's just been failure from the...
I wonder what's causing that. One minute. I think I've done it. think I've done it.
Frankly, all over.
Sorry, the Uni Party.
Well, Labour and Reform, Labour and the Tory Party, excuse me, around here.
Thank you for the heads up, man. Thanks.
It's been pointless to split the hairs between them. You know, when it was the Conservatives.
I'm interested in this phrase, the Uni Party. Are you suggesting there's no difference between Labour and the Conservatives?
Well, look, apart from the fact that they're adding...
Yeah, it's just the audio coming through now.
Yeah, no, not really.
That should be okay now. Thank you for that.
Under the Conservative Party in Thurrock, there was a...
I had the audio on there twice.
Of £1 billion. You know, Thurrock and Basildon is not a huge place, and they managed to blow £1 billion in Thurrock,
Right.
£700 million worth of debt in Basildon. And if you don't mind just me touching on local government reform, because I know Nigel's spoken about it, you know, this is the thing that drives me crazy about politics, and you just don't see it in business. They start off with an objective, and they reach a conclusion which completely ignores it. Basildon and Thurrock combined is around 330 people, 330,000 people. When they were talking about local government reform, they set a minimum floor
That should be fine now. Right.
They're well under that, and it's two of the most indebted parts in the region. The whole thing's nuts, and it's done because it suits Labour.
OK, they're local issues, but when we were in Basildon overnight, the defeated candidates were saying that Reform had done well because of national issues, dissatisfaction with the Keir Starmer government, and it wasn't really local issues.
That should be better now.
Before, I mean, back
Let's have a look. Let me just check.
yeah, was it 2022 when these councils were last fought? There was a vote against Boris Johnson, and now there seems to be a vote against Sir Keir Starmer. Must be national issues rather than local issues.
The national issue is
that should be it.
are very much playing into it, but they're not alone. And look, this is a very engaged community. You can see that by the turnout and why it's so high here.
Do you know the turnout figures incidentally?
It's around 50% in a lot of places, and some places even higher.
We found
it's
that
enormous.
in Basildon last night. I mean, in some of the wards it was over 50%, and a lot.
Yeah, it should be right now.
Yeah, and look, we're picking. I like this phrase, but we're sort of eating everyone's sandwiches. You know, we're Conservative, Labour, but also, like I said at the beginning, with sort of the Nigel effect, we're bringing
The Nigel effect.
and just didn't want to.
What about the Gavin effect?
Second place is 500 votes, and we're getting 1,500. So there's a lot going on here, and people really need a bit of change.
James Murdoch, thank you very much indeed. The Nigel effect. We heard about
The Nigel effect, ladies and gentlemen. There you have it.
clearly the Nigel effect is working in quite a few places here in Essex. Back to you, Sophie.
John Craig, thank you so much. John Craig there in...
Thank you, John.
It's a serious election programme when you've got John Craig on. Can't get enough
That counts.
Yeah, I know, they will go on the attack. This is going to be fucking hilarious.
Of Knowlesy. It has been a Labour majority since 19...
Yeah, so we've got Arc Raiders over there that I'm going to be playing. That in the background, and you lot.
Burnley also remaining as no overall control. We'll dive a little bit deeper into these results when we...
Let's see what happens, eh? It's glorious, though, isn't it? It's only like local elections, but it's still funny.
That you just get so much data.
Yeah.
I guess the difficulty is pulling the narratives from it. What have you been looking at?
Well, you know what? It's like when you're looking at those results on Knowlesy and elsewhere. And, you know, Pendle was another one. Looking at Pendle, when you look beneath the surface, it looks...
Listen to him come out with a load of crap. Go on.
But you kind of have to look beneath the surface, and so it's only when you look at kind of some of the ward level data.
Oh, they've kicked out Labour where you are. Brilliant.
We're basically winning last time around, and this time around they are kind of in last place.
It's embarrassing for a minute.
Have more of that.
Glorious.
But shall I do a little bit? I've got another map actually.
Let's go for
Maps
it.
are quite useful.
Let's buckle up. We've got a map. Let's do it.
Maps are good. It's quite a
love
good
a
way
map.
of just like seeing the shifts, particularly given that we have that extra bit of data. Actually, I'm going to just whiz past. There's a first bit which is just the state of where we are at the moment. Well, actually, no. I mean, you've got to talk about that.
I wonder how bad it's going to be by the end of tonight. I really wonder.
And just the extraordinary... I mean, basically this is reform kind of starting pretty much from scratch in terms of this election, but just look at how far ahead, by far and away the biggest gainer. It will be interesting to see whether, where this bar goes in the coming hours as we get more results through from London, because this was always the moment when we get those London counts that everyone was expecting Green Party to kind of see their performance. Kind of Lib Dems, a bit of both really, but obviously when it comes to, the biggest losers, Conservative Party, and I'll show you something in a second.
I mean, Starmer this morning's already come out with a load of crap and not really said much, has he?
Or a good or bad.
All he was saying is that he's not going to back down and people want change. Well, he ain't going to be the person to give it, is he?
365, but maybe you can just make out microscopic 3 seats gain there along the way. Have a look at this, OK? So this was I guess one of the big moments that we've had in recent hours, Havering. So in London, Reform UK taking control of a borough council there in London, Havering. And here's what's interesting, OK? So not just looking at the extraordinary rise in the number of seats there. Of course, in London...
I wonder if he's going to blame it on the far-right thugs,
from
the absolute melt.
For Reform. But looking at the change in the share, OK? So have a look at the map from last time around. We're zooming into Havering, and we're looking specifically at the different wards.
I agree with you, Marty.
And you can see the way that they were controlled in the past. A fair bit of Labour, a fair bit of the Conservatives, this Independent Residents Party there. Now look at it this time around.
They will just attack the people again. That's what they would do. Let me be clear. I understand. No, you don't.
It has gone, I don't know if you can see, look, gone from being so dominated by the two parties, Conservative Labour Party, So
does that mean, Nicky, that you haven't got a crush on him anymore?
From one shifting across to
changed your feelings on old Starmer, have you?
Not just looking. If you look, you know, that's your kind of map of this. But let's just think about the history of it and look back over recent years. So this is going back all the way into 1973 and looking at the political evolution of this particular council and how it has changed over time. And just look at the extent to which it was dominated, wasn't it, by Conservatives and Labour Party in the 1970s, in the 80s as well. And you can see the Lib Dems, well, Liberal Party Lib Dems coming in there as well, and into the 90s. But look at how that vote share, and this is something we are going to come back to time and time again, look at how that vote share of the main parties, it's actually been falling over time. So, you know, where
it's been falling.
Talking about this being the
who could have thought?
System. Really,
who would have thought?
Shrinking for quite some time.
They're so out of touch, aren't they?
We get to this moment here. So that's 2026. These are the results we have right here. And look at that enormous chunk for Reform. But look also at just how small, how tiny that the amount taken up by the Labour Party and the Conservative Party are there. This is in Havering, so we're just looking deep beneath the numbers at the history here. I mentioned a moment ago, you know, we're going to try and give you some sense as to, you know, because we're getting the numbers counting, and you can see on the bottom of your screen, you can see kind of where we...
No, she says that, Nicky, but she does have a bit of a soft spot for Keir. I don't know what it is. She said it's something about the way he talks or something. She said it's a bit...
Coming as well.
What was it you said? It made you feel naughty.
And if...
I don't know what she meant by that.
Where we are and extrapolate kind of where we might be heading in the future. Here's a way of thinking about it. Now, this is not definitive because, as I say, it's just a relatively crude extrapolation of the numbers that we have so far and working out what that would mean if that continued over the course of the next few results. But if that continues...
Which it will.
Once all the numbers are counted, then you're talking about Labour losing 1,330 seats across these English local elections. And that, broadly speaking, you can see here, if they lost fewer, it would be good. If
obviously
that much, it would be OK. If they're losing kind of between 1,000 and 1,500, we're into bad territory. This is not super scientific, but bad. But they're not quite in terrible territory. So bad right now for the Conservative, for the Labour Party.
I love it. They're like, yeah, it's bad. Everyone could tell you that. A child could have told you that, mate.
I've got the Conservatives as well.
I love it. Let's.
That's the Labour Party, and that's kind of where we are right now in terms of our image.
I mean, bad, but not terrible. Not great, is it? But let's bring you a few more results.
Not terrible, she says. Not terrible, she says. The worst results they've ever had, but it's not terrible.
Council to no overall control.
You've got to laugh.
It's down two, and again, it's just telling the story of the night, isn't it? It's a fracturing of the two-party system. Reform are up 8 seats. What's interesting here was that the Lib Dems didn't even bother fielding any candidates in Hinburn. So you can see there, Reform, the big winners there in Hinburn in Lancashire. We can also bring you, I think, a couple of other ones too. Let's get Burnley first. Shall we have a look at what is going on there? And again, Reform up 11. They've won 11 seats, so a really good result for them. Labour down 7.
Got to laugh. Really, you just have to laugh at them.
There were some, I should be said, some defections from Labour to the Independents, so the Independents quite good there in Burnley. And we've got a couple of Scotland results to bring you as well. Aberdeen Central. This is, of course, big port city, third most populous city in Scotland, and it's a hold for the SNP. Hopefully we should have a look at the share of the vote and the So yeah, I mean, very dominant really for the SNP, and this is the
Sly news, yeah, you're right.
This is really when you get the picture of what is going on.
Men can multitask.
And this
Yeah, I'm multitasking, look.
absolutely surging again.
I'd like to be multitasking with you, Gil.
At the expense there.
Leave it at, Nikki, don't be rude.
Party in Aberdeen, and it would be an astonishing thing if Reform end up being the opposition to the SNP in Scotland. It is not high in the sky. I think. Oh, have a look. SNP have just gained the Shetland Islands, and well, they've had it in their sights for a long, long time. The Lib Dems have been in control of the Shetland Islands since 1999, and the SNP have kind of long lusted for this seat. The current Lib Dem MSP retiring, and it's interesting to say that the SNP leader did visit 3 times during the campaign, so they really did want to try and take it, which they have too. SNP also holding on to Kilmarnock and Irvine.
Don't start, Nick.
That seat coming in Scotland. Hopefully we should be able to bring you there. So the SNP holding on to Kilmarnock and Irvine. Let's have a look at the vote share as well, shall we? And we don't yet have that, but there you go. There's another SNP hold there, Ed.
It's interesting, isn't it? And looking at that, you can see the vote share, but for me, the really interesting thing, first of all, look at the turnout on the bottom right. So turnout down quite considerably, and it was the same in Aberdeen as well. And look at the change in the share of the vote. So that's the SNP winning, in inverted commas, but seeing their lead falling significantly. Actually, the Labour Party up, but I mean, obviously, it's based on the last elections to the Scottish Parliament, but there's Reform, and really striking to see.
You've got to laugh.
Pushing into Scotland, obviously not winning in these constituencies, but I don't think that was the expectation. I think the interesting question, Sophie, is what happens when we get the next half of this, because it's a kind of semi-proportional voting system in the Scottish Parliament. So you get those constituency results, and then you get the kind of...
Are you gaming that? Yeah, I'm on...
I think that's where Reform...
That's what I'm playing now, on the right.
Look at this. You say that Labour picked up, up 2.5% vote share, but when the SNP have been in power for this long, you would think that Labour would be starting to take root a bit more in Scotland, maybe a few green shoots glimmering there, and they're not. And the reason they're not is because Reform have become, I guess, the anti-establishment party. If you don't like the government, if you don't like the SNP, vote Reform.
And of course they were hoping to, given then 2024 such a strong result in Scotland. This
What's up, Spartan? How you doing?
was a big kind of moment, and a lot of people back then talking about potentially Labour taking back the Scottish Parliament. But as you can see here, it is kind of going the SNP's way, but it's going their way with this enormous proviso, enormous asterisk, which is beneath the surface. Reform are there, and it's not all going their way on that front.
I nearly died.
Now, shall we, to Lord McNichol, who was General Secretary of the Labour Party from 2011 to 2018. Great to have you with us. What's your reaction to the results so far?
Panic, I'd say.
Disappointing.
That's their reaction.
Really disappointing. I think every government loses in the local elections following the victory at a general election. You just go back to 1999 when Tony Blair, Gordon Brown and that new Labour government won in 97. 2 years later, in 1999, in the local elections, that government, Tony Blair as Prime Minister, lost 32 councils and over 1,500 Labour councillors. We're in a similar situation just now. We're early into this government. We've had one King's Speech, which has delivered 54 bills, which were passed and finalised a few weeks ago. Many of those reforms, those changes, haven't come into effect yet. John McDonald was talking about the millennials, and renters need to be protected, or millennials have got issues around rent. One of the bills that was passed was the Renters Reform Bill, bringing in protections for those who are renting. So the results are bad. I think, as the Prime Minister said, as Keir said, there's no sugarcoating them. But I think, for me, the big thing is our politicians, our government...
Resident Evil Village. Oh, I really enjoyed that. Rex got me into that.
About how difficult change...
I think that's the one we played a little while ago.
How long that change is going to take. We're in the middle of a war in the Middle East. We've got a cost of living crisis. The building blocks are being put in place. You've had a number of frontline Labour politicians. I'm going through the health service in education. Steve Reid, I'm in housing. We are less than 2 years less than 2 years into a 5-year term. It's going to take time. It needs to be speeded up, but it's going to be time. It's going to take time. So my advice is be honest with the public, and offer hope. We need to offer more hope.
More hope. That's what they need. More hope, boys and girls. They've got it under control.
The question that many will be asking is that Labour have been telling us for an awful long time that things are going to change, that we need to change, that we need to speed up the pace of change. But at what point does that, I guess, time run out? Do you think
the time's already run out for you,
a lot of
Labour? You're finished.
That actually there needs to be a change of leader?
I'm not sure a lot of MPs are saying it. You have a quote on your screen just now from Diane Abbott saying, no change in leadership. John McDonnell has just been on.
It's absolute delusion, isn't it? Like, they've just got the absolute bludgeoning it in history.
That you're right.
And they're going, well, we don't think we've got a problem. Absolutely deluded.
Expect to see a big coup over the weekend.
Yeah.
But what I think a lot of MPs are saying, or at least they're saying to journalists like me, is that Keir Starmer's
crazy, isn't it?
The next election, so they need to start thinking at some point about a change of leader before that time.
So, what's the quote? A week is a long time in politics. We've got 3 years, over 3 years, between now and the next general election. There needs to be time.
I just think it's funny, man. I do. I think it's funny.
The changes that it is putting in place for the country. I thought in Keir's speech this morning, understanding and owning up to the mistakes that have been made. But then
no, but he's not owning up, because all he did was talk about how they inherited the problems from the Conservatives. It's got nothing to do with that. That's not why people are pissed off. He still don't get it. The geezer still don't get it.
Our high streets, on our roads, in our communities. We're starting to see it in the health service. But bringing in more GPs isn't...
Do you know what I mean? He still doesn't get it.
Overnight. Building council houses or building more houses is not going to happen overnight. Sorting...
Oh, yeah, well, I'm surprised the Greens done as well as they have done so far. I'm surprised and I'm not. Do you know what I mean?
Be a bit more honest about it, because every politician, from Reform all the way through to the Greens, have talked about change, including Labour, including the Liberals and including the Conservatives. That change means different things to different parties. For me, it's about delivering for the communities throughout the United Kingdom, and we just need to go on and do it.
Thank you very much. Good to see you.
We're going to deliver change, boys and girls. Of course you are.
Right, the results coming in, of course, thick and fast. If you're looking at the bottom of your screens right now, you can see them ticking over. Every new result we get, we will put there and we'll bring you the full details of them as soon as we have them in as well. But look, so far in England, it's been an excellent night for reform.
The thing is, they think the majority of people are flipping stupid, and it's the same crap that they're doing on social media with the left.
Is Neil Gray, who is the SNP candidate for Airdrie. Great to have you with us. Thank you for being with us. And what do you make of the results that we've seen so far? Just a trickle in from Scotland.
I mean, it's very early days, but
oh shit! What the fuck was that?
Absolutely thrilled to see the SNP take Shetland. Hannah Mary Goodlad is an outstanding candidate. She's going to be an incredible MSP. She has fought a remarkable campaign in Shetland. It was a target for us, but we felt, given the Liberal strength in Shetland for so long, that it...
Oh, I think we might have lost you there.
Yeah, you've lost him.
I think we may have lost, I guess, sadly. We'll have a little go at getting back.
This is pandemonium. Listening to the news, trying to comprehend that, trying to escape from here because I'm afraid of what's shooting at me.
Give you a bit of a sense. This is Scotland, the elections for the Scottish Parliament. Right. Not many coming through yet, but look. The big one is the SNP winning Shetland from the Lib Dems. It's a seat that the Lib Dems have held since the 1990s, long coveted by the SNP. But actually, that majority was getting smaller and smaller. So not a huge upset, but I think something that the SNP will be very glad to have taken from the Liberal Democrats. You can see there the vote share. The SNP won that seat with 47.5% of the vote. But let's have a look at the change in vote share. Really, you can see there it is a big fall in support for the Liberal Democrats they're going to be disappointed with that in Shetland, a seat that they've
The fuck was that?
for so long. The current Lib Dem MSP, Beatrix Wood,
Sorry about my language.
retiring, so perhaps that fall in the vote share, a bit of a personal vote for her now leaving the party. Scottish Greens doing well, Scottish Reform doing well too, but it was the SNP who managed to gain that seat from the Liberal Democrats. I think what's interesting in the Scotland results we've seen coming in so far, and there is a big health warning on this because they've only started to trickle through, is the performance of Reform. It does certainly seem as though...
It was a bit close, wasn't it? Nearly died there.
Reform outperforming so far in Scotland their ambitions to perhaps become the official opposition to the SNP. But then overall, of course, in England as well, it's been an excellent night for the...
Greens, Reform, yes.
Bring you a little result, shall we? As I was saying, those...
We've got more.
Scotland really beginning to trickle in. We can bring you the result for Dundee City East. Stephen Gethins has won that for the Scottish National Party with 12,969 votes. So really no one coming close at all. Labour in second place, Reform in third place. Let's have a look at the vote share there, shall we?
Like, it's not explosive for Reform, but they're making a big statement, aren't they?
Nearly winning half of the votes cast in Dundee City East. Let's have a look at the change in share, shall we? And again, this is where things get interesting because yes, the SNP have held it. Yes, the SNP have held it easily, but they are 10.4% down on what they were last year. And look at who was the beneficiary. Once again, it is Reform really becoming, I think, a thorn in the side of the SNP and hoovering up some of those results there.
Hoovering up, she said.
And let's go back to
It's a woman's job, that.
Gray, shall we?
I'm joking, by the way.
Thanks for bearing with us. Not sure what happened last time. I just wondered if you could comment on the performance of Reform in Scotland. Because, yes, look, the SNP holding seats. Yes, you managed to take that one from the Lib Dems. But my goodness, Reform are doing quite well in these early results, aren't they?
I was sorry to be cut off there when I was talking about the result in Shetland. That was not a result that we were anticipating. This was a surprise for us. We hoped we might be able to do well, and I'm absolutely delighted that the SNP campaign, led so well by Hannah Mary Goodlad, has seen us over the line. But it is an incredible result. It overturned...
Incredible result, he says.
...in the islands. I come from the neighbouring islands in Orkney, and I recognise how important and big a result it is. It is seismic for the SNP in
just
the
to come
Northern
in,
Ireland.
just to come in, because I absolutely understand. Historically, this is a massive gain, right? Taking Shetland, it's been Lib Dem for so long, but the majority was 806 votes, so it's important to say that as well.
Well, no, you look at the number of votes cast, you look at the share of the vote, the SNP moving to 47%.
No, I don't, Nikki. No, I don't. Do not say that to me ever again. I said when she was younger, I did. Don't make me hit you.
And I'm delighted.
Come on, behave.
I think in terms of your assessment of...
Behave, Nikki.
It's too early to tell in terms of the overall results. Reform appear to be doing well. However, the SNP is holding Reform...
Actually, no, I did say that you had a crush on Starmer, so at least I was honest and said that I did like her when she was younger. Unlike you sitting here pretending that you don't have a little bit of a soft spot for old Keir. And what is it you like to name him? Sir Keir.
And the SNP holding...
Oh, Sir Keir.
Standing up to Reform, standing against the division in politics and coming through as clear, hopeful winners in the constituencies we've seen so far.
Do you think that Reform are now, I guess, the opposition to the SNP? Are Labour, the Conservatives, are they kind of left the field, if you like?
Well, I think it's too early to say. Not all results have been...
It's too early to say, he says.
Know the outcome
Delusion.
of the election in Scotland yet. But there was your previous contributor from a Labour perspective. It said about how difficult elections are after your election to government. We're 19 years into an SNP government and we are performing well and doing well, and it is the other parties that are currently struggling. Labour's share of the vote in many of these places is down. We are seeing them in a difficult place today.
They're doing great at the moment, apparently. Everything's going swimmingly.
Had his...
this was the aim all along.
You would see a greater challenge
Oh, God.
The reason that we appear to be doing well today is because we've listened to the people. We've taken forward a hopeful message, one with aspiration and hope at its heart. We have taken on the messages of division and hatred in our politics, and we have stood up with our values front and centre of our campaign, and that is what is seeing us through.
OK, great to talk to you. Thank you very much for taking the time.
Thank you.
Yeah, thanks for your time, mate. I really enjoyed listening to you.
About Reform so far today, and we're joined now by the Deputy Leader of Reform UK, that is Richard Tice. Great to have you with us. Thank you for being with us. So what do you make of the results so far? It's been a stonking performance so far, hasn't it, for Reform?
Well, we're delighted, and absolutely delighted. You're just hearing there that we're doing well in Scotland as well, but I'm here in Birmingham at this huge count for Birmingham City, which is incredibly close, way too close to call, may end up in no overall control. But across the West Midlands, we are absolutely smashing it.
We're absolutely smashing it, he says.
Which was an example.
We're smashing it.
Council under a Reform county council elected last year, showing that voters, they're saying they want more reform. Despite all of the nonsense reported in the press, we're doing a great job running the councils, and voters in their millions are saying we want more reform to run these councils. And whether we're taking them from Labour, we've just taken Essex County Council. I think I've just been told that Kemi Badenoch herself would lose her constituency seats if there was a general election next week based on those results. So,
well, that wouldn't be good, would it?
The system is dead.
Not for her, anyway.
And Reform are the big winners of these local elections.
You mentioned there what would happen at a general election, and it is always dangerous, as you know, of course, to kind of map across too closely how people vote in local elections to a general election. But, you know, if you look at these results,
it's not good, no.
His way to being Prime Minister.
Let's see what the BBC says. Oh, let's listen to this absolute tool of a man. This was this morning. Let me be clear. Let me be perfectly clear. Oh, Starmer, you haven't got a clue, son.
And plunge the country into chaos. We were elected to deal with these challenges, and that's what we will do.
But you haven't.
Miliband asked you to set out a timetable for your departure.
Well, I think Ed Miliband has dealt with this and made absolutely clear that he supports me.
It makes it clear.
That are really upset with you. They don't think you're getting it, and they're calling for your resignation. What do you say to would-be challengers and the party? What's your message?
I think it's very important that we don't sugarcoat these results, so I'm not going to do that.
Well, you have sugarcoated it, mate. You've thrown everyone else under the bus except for yourself. Do you remember when you said you'd stick up for everyone? Nope, all under the bus.
Feel that their lives have changed enough or quickly enough, and that's been going on for a long time. We were elected to deal with that, and I'm not going to walk away from that responsibility.
Yeah, he don't give a damn about anyone but himself, Tina. What's up, Montgomery?
Your own top team messaged me this morning and said that you are the reason that Labour risks handing the country to Reform, that you are the problem. What do you say to that? That if you
I don't get it. Yeah, he'll deny it, look.
What I'd say to that is, we won a landslide victory in July 2024. I led our party to that victory. That is a 5-year mandate to change the country. Yes, there are difficult conditions. The inheritance was terrible. The international context is very, very difficult. But we need to inject that hope and convince people that things can and will get better. And that's why in coming days I'll set out the further steps that we will take.
How are you feeling? Are you feeling...
Like, she's literally saying to him, people want you gone, even your own party. What do you think? He goes, well, I was elected to do that. Completely ignores it.
Representatives that we have lost because
No, you have lost. You.
So much into their communities, so much of their life into public service. And so I'm thinking about them and thinking about what we need to do to rebuild and to take our country forward.
Are you going to stand as Prime Minister at the next general election?
Yes. It was a 5-year term I was elected to do. I intend to see that through.
What a horrible, horrible little man. If delusion was human form, it would be him. You know, sometimes you've got to take the rough with the smooth and all of that.
Have already led to power changing hands in astonishing ways. And the trickle of results in these sets of election is about to become a flood.
I know.
It's Reform UK
That's what's insane about it. He's talking like he's... Do you know what? I think the word narcissism is overused. He's the first, or one of the first people I've ever seen where I can sit here and go, that's not, like, that's the true meaning of narcissism. Like, the country is burning around you, everyone is turning on you, and you're going, well, we're going to make change.
So far, though, the results
like, wake up, dude.
For Sir Keir Starmer, losing councils north, south, east and west. But already today, he said he will not walk away. And so far, only a small number of his critics have said publicly he should be for the chop. Anger with Labour has not, though, benefited the Conservatives. Despite snatching back the iconic Council of Westminster, Henry Badenoch's party is down overall. And it is Zach Polanski's Greens and Sir Ed Davies' Liberal Democrats who've both been marching forwards. Both parties gaining seats overnight, and both of them with still some of their best targets still in play.
Here in Wales, we're expecting the first results in the next hour or so, with Labour admitting it has been a bad election. Turnout, by all accounts, is predicted...
I think they both will as well, Gary.
50%. That's the first time we've had that in a Senate election. Plaid and Reform are the ones expected to do well.
Here at Holyrood, the Scottish parliamentary election results are really getting going now. We have 7 out of 73 constituencies and 56 MSPs will be selected by the list system. But so far, the first SNP win for the Liberal Democrats in Shetland, the first time there hasn't been a Liberal in the Northern Isles since 1950. And there's a by-election ahead in Dundee East as SNP Stephen Gethin leaves Westminster for Holyrood.
And I'm here at the giant screen, crunching the numbers behind these big changes in British...
They're crunching the numbers, people. They've got it all sorted. They're crunching the numbers.
In charge of the services that millions rely on. But they're also a vital barometer of what voters really think of the UK government overall. And the message so far, it's not up to much. One of our best political brains at the BBC, Vicky Young, will be with us this afternoon as the story evolves in the next few hours. And, of course, Professor Sir John Curtis's analysis of all of the numbers will pick out the patterns of exactly what is going on. So stay with us for Election 2026 across the BBC as millions of your votes...
Next up to go is the BBC. That's the next one we want gone. We want Labour kicked out of everywhere. And then then the BBC. All the poison must go.
A warm welcome back to you all. We'll be here with you until 5 o'clock, poised for swathes of results to come streaming in the next couple of hours. The tally in England so far looks bleak for Labour. You can see there, Reform. Nigel Farage's party gaining 569 seats. The Lib Dems, 339. Tories on 316, but Labour only on 296. Plenty of results.
OK, Nikki, have fun. Enjoy yourself.
In the next couple of hours. But the future of the Scottish Parliament and the Welsh Senate might give us historic headlines this afternoon too. Clive, an incredible afternoon. What are you expecting next?
Yeah, hi there. Senior Labour figures, they're telling us that they're convinced that they've lost control of the building behind me, the Senate, that this has been a bad election. And that'll be the first time that's happened since devolution back in 1999. Turnout, by all accounts, has been over 50% for the first time in a Senate election, which is really important because that, of course, shows the level of engagement.
Do you vote in Essex, Gav? Yeah, Essex. I'm an Essex boy, no, of course. Well, you
That makes it clear that people want change, and it's been difficult perhaps for Labour, who've been in power for so long, to come across as the party who can deliver the kind of change that voters have wanted. Who's going to benefit from this? Clearly it will be the progressive left, with Plaid on the left and Reform on the right. And we're hearing from...
Trumpets on the left, trombones on the right.
The First Minister of Wales, Eluned Morgan, has not been able, apparently, not being able to secure one of the 6 seats available in her constituency, Ceredigion-Penfro, in West Wales. Now remember, it's a proportional system here. To get one of those seats, you need at least 10, 12 percentage points when it comes to the share of the vote. If Labour aren't able to do that with the First Minister, then you know this is going to be a complete blowout for the Labour Party here in Wales as a result of events today. Kirsty and Scott.
Well, things are really hot.
I don't want to go to this one. I want to go to the one over there.
Sarwar, the Scottish Labour leader, is arriving at the count in Glasgow. And, of course, all the conversation this morning has been about, for example, perhaps reform beating...
Trumpets on the left, trombones on the right.
That gives succour
It's from a song.
Sarwar's call for Keir Starmer to go, a call he issued in February. You know, the Cabinet's been tight-lipped this morning, but certainly Anna Sarwar has not demurred from that position, that it is time now for Keir Starmer to go, because on the doorsteps, what he's getting is disaffection with what's happening at UK government level, rather actually than things within the purview of the Scottish Parliament. There he is, looking buoyant, but actually in Glasgow, we don't know yet whether or not the SNP will lose to Labour, but we certainly...
Yeah, reform would have won more, you're right about that.
...are issues, and we will be discussing them this afternoon. Now back to you, Laura.
Much indeed, so much at stake and so much for us to talk about. Let's just look into those, some of the outcomes of over...
I just can't wait for him to do a speech tonight or whenever it's going to be, because he's just going to get humiliated, fella.
...been taken from them too.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, the Labour losses is obviously the story overnight, and I think it's the scale of them, not just in England, but if it happens in Wales as well. That is what is going to really affect people. And you think about cabinet ministers looking at their patch. The council may not have even changed hands. It might be that Labour still run the council, but within that, there might be dozens of councillors who've lost their seats. In some places, Labour not even being able to defend a single one of the seats that they had previously. So that is going to have an impact. It does mean sometimes, of course, that local services will change, that different people will be running your council, but you can't get away from the knock-on effect. How do Labour MPs analyse what's gone wrong? Who do they blame? What, if anything, are they going to do about it? So the questions about Keir Starmer will start.
And what, at this stage, is your sense of that? I mean, so far there has been the odd MP popping their head up over the parapet, but at this stage it doesn't appear, and it's still not done, it doesn't appear that they're suddenly going to crash into the kind of leadership chaos that Keir Starmer's been trying to keep at bay for a long time.
Yeah, and I think even though there are many people who I've spoken to have been knocking on the doors who say that it is partly, at least, Keir Starmer's leadership that is the problem for many voters, it needs the cabinet to move against him. That's crucially what has to happen.
Won't happen, no.
Challenger. The people
Cowards.
who don't want Keir Starmer there also don't quite know who they might get if it becomes an open contest. So it's a long way from that, but there is no doubt that this will be, you know, very unsettling for a number of Labour MPs looking in areas where they used to be rock solid and wondering what on earth's going to happen. Reform the big winners overnight, as you say. Still lots of results to come in. The Greens hoping to do well as well.
OK, and the sequencing of these results is always a big part of the story. So the Lib Dems and the Greens still have some of their best targets ahead.
They'll blame the far right, I know.
With Rita as some of what's happening.
Do you know, I tell you one thing he will do from this. He will try and crack down on this thing that's on, is it the 16th of May in London? He will try and crack down more on that, because what he'll say is it's a gathering of all the evil and all of the far right thugs and Nazis. That's what he will blame it all on that crap and not take any responsibility for the fact that he's a complete failure as a man.
In 2024, so you can see how quickly it's lost support in this area. So it's still the largest party on 17 seats, Conservative and Reform both on 8 seats. But come over here and see the change since 2022, last time these seats were fought, and you can see it's Reform that are the big winners here, gaining 8 seats at the expense of Labour and the Conservatives. Let me show you one more Labour loss, because at the moment this is the story of...
Oh, there's going to be more.
Cannock Chase. Now, this was one of Labour's most marginal councils. It only had a majority of 2 last time. Anyway, it's lost that majority. It's no longer in control of Cannock Chase. Cannock Chase in Staffordshire. They are short by 5 seats for control.
Ah, poor Labour.
So this is, again, what we call a hung council.
You can see there it's Reform here that have got the highest number of seats on 14, with Labour in second place. And let's look at the change since 2024, and a very similar pattern. Reform on 13 and Labour the big losers here. Let's take a look at the scoreboard, as we like to call it, the state of the parties in the English councils in terms of number of councillors, and we've got 27% of the seats declared, so about a quarter of them. Still many, many more to come. This is the order of winners, if you like, with Reform UK right at the top on 577. The Lib Dems, they've gained 30 with 345. The big losers are the Conservatives. As you can see, Kemi Badenoch's down 261.
Who did the smiley face with me? Oh, I've been smiling since last night, to be honest, knowing that this is the way that it's going.
5% of all the seats that they hold. It's
oh, piss off.
For Labour. Have a look over here. You can see that Labour has lost 393.
I'm going to die.
Hung on to or gained 299. So that is it. They're losing more than half of all the seats that they have. But I can tell you, actually, that behind those figures, Labour is doing much, much worse outside London than it is in London. And the Greens here, a word for them, up 64 on 116 seats. So that's...
I mean, he's gonna have to be interviewed or spoken to tonight after all the results are in, surely. I think he would cower away. And it makes you wonder as well why they've not got Parliament, the PMQs, the questions every week on a Wednesday, and they haven't got it for a month. It just so happens there's loads of other things happening, so he's not going to be here for a month, so he's not going to take responsibility for the drubbing that he's getting.
Councils in the country is counting. Been a very interesting race there, and Richard Tice, Reform's deputy leader, is there this afternoon. It seems only a few hours ago since we were speaking to you from Staffordshire, Mr. Tice. Welcome to the programme again. What are your hopes there of Birmingham?
Good afternoon.
Good afternoon. What are your hopes there in Birmingham for Reform?
Well, this is actually the biggest council, I believe, across the whole of Europe, and it's incredibly close. We always knew that it would be. It's way, way too close to call. This will go on through until the evening. And in a sense, for us, we would love to be the largest party, of course, but it's just too close to call. Very thin margins, and results are being announced every couple of...
In the background, yeah, can hear it.
But across the West Midlands, as we touched on in the middle of the night, Laura, we're achieving great things. We won control of Newcastle-under-Lyme. Cannock Chase, you were just touching on earlier. Nuneaton, we've done brilliantly. Tamworth, we've done brilliantly. And I think we're very optimistic down in Coventry. And indeed elsewhere.
Very optimistic.
See, as we're talking, we're just showing people the vote.
Yeah, I heard this. They left the polling station, were told not to speak to the cameras, which I think is, again, it's pretty cowardly.
John Swinney.
It's just so disrespectful for the people that have been out to vote for you. You know what I mean?
First Minister.
It's disrespectful.
2,240.
It's like a sulking child.
Murdo Fraser, Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party, 10,171. Claire McLaren, Scottish Liberal Democrats, 2,741. Kenneth Morton, Reform UK, 4,620. And John Ramsay Swinney, Scottish National Party, 16,414. Additionally,
I know, this is what she does. She says she'll be back and then she leaves. This is what she does.
22.
I mean, it's women, isn't it, really? It's what they do.
They're entitled to, and 136 being unmarked or wholly void.
Minister's sixth win in this seat. You can see there that John Swinney has 16,414 votes. The Conservative Murdo Fraser, 10,171. Reform in third place with 4,620, Liberal Democrats on 2,741, and Labour on 2,240. So his majority is 6,240. So his majority is up.
Pleasant and first duty as the elected member of the Scottish Parliament for Perthshire North to express my thanks to you and to...
It's not surprising about the independents in Midlands, because we know who lives mostly in the Midlands.
...in which this election campaign and...
No comment about that, because I don't want to get in trouble, but
and for the
you know and I know.
...of the declaration today. Can I also express my thanks to Police Scotland for, as ever, providing the important security around the democratic process upon which we all enjoy. It has been the privilege of my life to serve the people of Perthshire for the last 29 years, and I look forward to continuing that service in the next Scottish parliamentary term. I have always acted in a way to prioritise the service of the people who chose me to represent them in Parliament, and I will continue to do so. And I express my warmest thanks to my constituents for supporting me once again so emphatically in this election today. Can I also express...
I just want to see what the excuses are going to be later tonight when a lot of them get interviewed. I want to see what they say, because that will show if they've got the minerals to accept responsibility, and I just don't think that they are and will. I think they will blame everyone but themselves.
But I could not have achieved this result without the steadfast support of Pam and my team around the constituency. So to each and every one of you who've worked so hard for this moment, please savour it and express my warmest and share my warmest thanks for all that you have achieved on behalf of the Scottish National Party in Perthshire North. Thank you very much.
And that is John Swinney.
They will blame Trump and Putin, yeah. That's what I'm trying to say. It will be some just waffle. Everyone but yourself.
Average turnout of 58%. So he is speaking...
It's comedy gold at this point.
But that, interestingly, Brian Taylor... Let's listen a bit more.
To serving the people of Scotland through the activities of the Scottish National Party, to have assumed the leadership of my party 2 years ago, and to take it to the position where I expect us to win the election today is a moment of enormous significance for me, and one from which I take enormous personal assurance and joy of the commitment that we've given to the people of Scotland, that they have rewarded us in the way that it appears they are rewarding us tonight and today. So to the people of Scotland, I express my warmest thanks for their support in this election campaign, and I look forward to following the results in the remainder of today and seeing more later on today. But I promised during this election campaign that I would devote my life to the service of this country, and I am profoundly grateful to the people of Scotland for indicating that they wish that to continue in the years to come. I will simply do all that I possibly can do to make Scotland a successful country and to improve the lives of the people of our country, and I look forward to doing that in the next Scottish parliamentary term. Thank you very much.
So that is the first but not the last time I think we'll hear from John Swinney today. And look at the state of the parties now. SNP has 7, that is 1 more. Liberal Democrats have lost that one, that was Shetland. Labour still on 0, Reform on 0, Conservatives on 0, and 9 on 0. But a lot more to come, because 8 of 129 seats are declared. Brian Taylor.
Good result for John Swinney. Congratulations to him.
No, that's true. They didn't back him. That's a big number of people as well.
Their vote actually slipped slightly as a share.
Something that they wouldn't have expected.
Has come from nowhere and eaten into Murdo Fraser, who's an MSP on the list, standing as the Conservative candidate in this constituency. Intriguing that Mr Swinney is prepared to say that he is expecting us, the SNP, to win the election today. That is a pretty widespread expectation, it has to be said, not least because they picked up that seat in Shetland. The anxiety that remains for the SNP is over a couple of seats. It's over Edinburgh Central. They look like losing. Angus Robertson looks like losing. If he does, is there an opportunity for him to continue a political career by going back to Westminster through one of the 2 by-elections that may be created? Certainly a by-election, Stephen Gethin's seat of Arbroath, Roddy Ferry, possibly in the North East seat that Stephen Flynn is hoping to leave to go to the Scottish Parliament. Other anxiety for the SNP on a day that looks like being a return to power. Other anxiety for the SNP, some seats in Glasgow. Glasgow South Side, Nicola Sturgeon's constituency, a bit of a worry there over the Greens. Glasgow Kelvin, worry over the Greens. Glasgow Maryhill, worry over challenging parties elsewhere. Gossip from the party is that they might hold on to these, but the gossip from the party is also Edinburgh Central gone, finished, out.
So, but then we come to the real business of the day would be that, of course, they will likely be the administration, but it will all be about deal making.
Yeah, now this is it. Now the thing is to bear in mind, to be a First Minister in that building behind us there, let's never forget, to be a First Minister you have to, first of all, your party has to win the popular vote. You then have to win a conferring vote in Parliament, in the chamber over there behind me, of your fellow MSPs. You then have to stay in power by sustaining the confidence of that Parliament behind me there. You might need the Greens to get the conferring vote and the Liberal Democrats to stay in power with the budget deal.
Well, let's now go to David Wallace-Lockhart, who's got looking at the state of Scotland.
Well, Kirsty, here's our constituency map of Scotland. Still a lot to fill in. That big blob of SNP yellow in the middle is where John Swinney has just kept his Perthshire seat. Now, we'll spend a bit of time today looking at this map, but we also have this different map that we call the hex map, which paints the picture a bit clearer because it distorts the geography but shows every Scottish constituency as being the same size. The outline of each hexagon is whoever held the seat in 2021. So we'll be filling that out throughout the day. We're going to look at a few interesting seats. Some have declared, some haven't. First up, that one Brian Taylor was just talking about, Edinburgh Central. It's currently held by the SNP Cabinet Minister.
Oh yeah, I'm playing the game still, sorry.
The Greens seem to think
That will be what the noises are.
had the declaration yet, but they're sounding confident. Big moment for them because that would be the first constituency the Greens have ever taken in a Scottish Parliament election. Now, a seat that has declared, actually the most interesting seat so far, I think it's fair to say. I'm going to have to go to the far north of Scotland, all the way into our Holyrood chamber here to get next to Shetland. Shetland has been Lib Dem since 1999, often taken as a given that Shetland will vote Lib Dem. Not anymore. The SNP have won the seat. Hannah Mary Goodlad has won it by a decent majority, actually. And if we have a look at the change in share here...
I'll always apologise for my incompetence, Spartan.
Greens up, Reform up. Yet to see if that's a theme, the Greens and Reform performing better, that we'll see throughout this election. Shetland's not your typical constituency, but we should keep an eye on that. With that in mind, let's actually go to Banffshire and Buchan Coast. This is the area that Reform UK think they're in with their best chance at winning a constituency. They plan to pick up most of their seats via the regional list, but here their candidate Conrad Ritchie hoping to take a constituency. Karen Adam for the SNP has a narrow majority, but we should be saying I've been speaking to some people in the SNP who now think that they have managed to hold on to this seat. We should be hearing about it quite shortly. What we don't know a lot about is how Labour have really done yet, because we're still waiting to hear for a lot of those Central Belt Scotland seats. But I think from what we're hearing from Labour is that they do not think this has been a particularly positive election for them. So we will keep filling in both our hex maps and this map as the results come in, but definitely some interesting ones so far, and definitely some interesting results to keep looking out for.
Thank you very much. Now, John Curtis, look at whether or not the SNP is likely to reach that magic number of 65 MSPs, which would be an outright majority.
Well, we are doing our best on the moment. It's only 8 constituencies, and there's obviously been a lot of variation, and nobody would claim that the 2 constituencies in the northern...
Do you know what? Is this the BBC? They are so boring, aren't they?
To a reform surge. So too is Mr Cleverly. He's the MP for Braintree. 3,670, his majority.
What other ones are there? Let's have a look.
How they were going to be all stormtroopers, how all of these people that were selected to be Labour MPs would go along with what the government says. Actually, they're much more, perhaps, Milibandite than they are Blairite when they come to politics. I do just want to say we had a bit of news in from Scotland.
Yeah, the BBC's pretty crap, isn't it?
Has won his...
It's not very entertaining, you know?
Which means we are now nailed on for a Westminster by-election in the coming weeks or months. He, of course, was the Westminster leader in Scotland for the SNP in Westminster. Westminster. And big questions now. Might he challenge the First Minister of Scotland, John Swinney, for the big job up in Scotland?
Yeah, absolutely. I think there's more breaking news. SNP leader John Swinney says it's clear his party will be the largest in the election. So shall we go to Scotland now and talk to Tony Maguire. Tony, who is in Glasgow for us. Tony, John Swinney says he's pretty much won it. It's in the bag.
It's in the bag, boys and girls. It's in the bag.
That, isn't it? I mean, we only are kind of less than 10 votes into the count here of the Scotland 73 constituencies, but already party leaders are kind of getting dragged into talking in absolutes. Just a moment ago, actually, Anas Sarwar came into the stadium in Glasgow, and bearing in mind none of the seats have actually been called here, he was talking very defeatist, you know, and it's all to play for. The SNP hasn't won any seats from Labour. Very much the game is yet to come. But nevertheless, Anas Sarwar
bunch of cowards
quite negatively when he entered the arena here in Glasgow. But you know, I did have a chance to ask him, because of all this talk of an SNP majority, well, the other side of that coin is the potential for a super union coalition, and that would involve Labour kind of burying the hatchet with Reform. So I put it to him of whether he would still reject that notion.
Reform have no part in terms of any kind of ability to form a government here. I'm of course disappointed that we are going to see Reform MSPs elected, but let me make a broader point, and this goes beyond just the politics within the Labour Party. I think it goes for who we are as a country. I'm sick of politicians who want to use people's legitimate concerns.
I know, it is like Mortal Kombat.
Sadly, it seems that those who seek to divide us and use people's frustrations to divide us are going to win the day today. But I still ultimately believe that the politics of unity and change will win this country, and I look forward to being part of that fight.
So the other political leader that we're clapping eyes on today is, of course, Malcolm Offord. He's the Scottish leader of Reform. And earlier today, he said that, well, he's not sure whether he'll win his...
Let's see if we've got any other bits and bobs, because we're going to be coming back to that anyway.
All split the vote, and what he thinks his...
I just want to see if there's any meltdowns, because it'll make... I'm kind of waiting for it to sort of hit the air. Oh my God, I didn't know that.
It's hard to get excited about local elections, isn't it? But I think you might be a little bit excited about what's going on today. Either you might be excited in a negative way, might have nervous energy, or you might feel triumphant. Either way, I think it's become very clear. I've spelled out really...
I feel triumphant, love.
Get to have a look at empirical evidence and how much polling for the past year, if not 2 years, is going to come to fruition. And I think it seems that Reform are on track for what appears to be a bit of a political revolution. And it's not just the fact that Reform...
Scots are allowed to be proud Scots, Irish are allowed to be proud Irish, Welsh are allowed to be proud Welsh, Indian are allowed to be proud Indians, Nigerians are allowed to be proud Nigerians. English, no, no, no. Exactly the problem, my friend, exactly the problem.
What's happening? The political sands are shifting from the old into the new. And yet, of course, the idea that this is...
Has there ever been anything like this in our lifetimes? I don't know. You know, is anything ever...
Protest votes, which is what they have always said. Well, that just proves, doesn't it?
I suppose you could say that the last general election with the Conservatives, not to this extent, but like the Conservatives getting obliterated in that last election, I mean, that was pretty damn big. But this just feels like a change in British politics.
They said it about UKIP 1.0. They said it about the Brexit Party. They said it about when Nigel Farage came back from Reform. But don't worry, the grown-ups will be back.
Oh, that's right. Yeah, the grown-ups are back in charge, yeah. How long did that last, you bunch of mugs?
Let people down abysmally. This wasn't a year in the making, Reform's success. Arguably, this has been 3 decades in the making. Because there's one man, one politician today who, when it comes to the most popular narratives, the concerns on the doorstep, can honestly say, I've never changed my stance and I've never altered my opinion.
I have.
These things when it was unpopular to do so. I pointed
I was very, very pro Nigel Farage till he screwed over Rupert Lowe.
See them And here we are.
Very.
Voters saying.
And now I only voted for him simply because Restore is not active in this election.
That is why the Labour Party.
It's the only reason.
Abysmally, but those fools on the backbenches seem to think that if Sir Keir Starmer only went even more left-wing, he could save the party's skin. I'm sorry, they're looking underneath the wrong stone.
Yeah, they are.
Anyway, let us get.
Yeah, I know. I'm with you, Seven. I'm not the biggest fan of her. I'll turn her off in it. I think it's the red ball turning blue level of change. Yeah.
By the brilliant Darren Grimes, who's a councillor up there in beautiful Durham. How are you doing, Darren?
Oh, I'm having quite the morning, Alex, as you can imagine.
I bet.
I think if there was a general election, would the people vote for reform? I don't know.
Not the sweet.
Do you know what I'm saying? Because this is local elections, is this something to make a stance against Labour to say they're unhappy, or is this a genuine shift in the narrative? I don't know.
Put these votes in front of me on the screen. That is the first time we've ever seen anything like that in everybody's lifetimes. Everybody's lifetimes. The fact that the number one party, so far with the most declared seats, is a colour that frankly wasn't even on the political spectrum until 2019, says everything, doesn't it? This is a revolutionary moment.
I'd like to think so, but we'll see.
I mean, look at the way in which Lisa Nandy's own backyard in Wigan, Reform took 24 out of the 25 of the seats there. In Angela Rayner's patch, we took 7 out of 8. This is Labour getting hammered where it hurts. And actually, it's a revolution, not unlike when the Labour Party came to the fore in places like Durham for the very first time, where actually they're being rejected in the likes of later today, God willing, in Sunderland. You know, all of these places where they are overwhelmingly backing Reform UK. This isn't an SDP moment. This isn't a UKIP moment. This is a Labour Party moment of the early 1900s. This is seismic in scale, in revolutionary, actually, diversion of people's tribal allegiances over to a different political party. It's left and right is totally dead now, right? This is about common sense. This is about people saying we need to save our own country. And yeah, I think actually you can't put into perspective in living memory just how seismic this is.
Yeah, I've never seen nothing like this.
Interesting actually that you compare it to the coming into power for the very first time, the Labour Party, the introduction of that party a century ago when it was brand new. And perhaps what was going on then is people were living through a revolution in terms, you know, there was a technological revolution, an industrialisation, there was a change in things even back then of the beginnings of immigration. And that we're going through a revolution again now.
I'd like to think so, but
what the
only time will tell.
Party leaders out there is who is actually listening to the concerns of the.
What do you lot think in chat? Do you think that this is going to transpire into if election was to happen now? Do you think Reform would win? Just put yes or no. Just I want to see what you lot think.
Does Sir Keir Starmer have the textbook on how to speak that language? This is what he had to say, reacting to Labour's hammering this morning.
Let me be clear. These are really.
Let me be clear. You're such a dickhead, bro.
And we
I'm sick of him saying that.
Representatives, people who put so much into their communities, so much into our party and our movement. And the voters have sent a message about
they hate you.
The pace of change, how they want their lives improved.
His house could be on fire and he'll go, well, I think we might have a problem, but it's because of the far right.
The country into chaos.
The voters have sent a message, he said. How many more times do they need to send this message? They sent the message during the Brexit referendum. They have clamoured, they have screamed, they turn out on the streets in protests, which is what we saw after Southport. You don't really have to be a psophologist, a political genius, a sociologist, an anthropologist of a high order to understand what the people want, which is massively reduced immigration and a cut to the cost of living. Now,
they want huge change, but he won't listen, mate.
In fact, even the union leaders know what the recipe is for that. Most people know what the recipe is for that. Controlling the borders, getting rid of net zero. And yet it seems to me that the backbenchers of the Labour Party think that
He ain't going to listen. Come on, it's everyone else's fault, not his. It's never his fault.
water. What do you
He's a victim, isn't he?
happen now? I mean, it's not your concern, so to speak, about Starmer's fate, but when it comes to the recipe for the country, what if Starmer does get
Well, that weren't worth a lot, was it?
start moving in that direction? What if he does talk about drilling in the North Sea? What if he does actually manage to stop boats and start deportations? Would that mean reform is toast?
If all of that happens, Alex, I will quite happily streak through the News UK studio totally starkers. Because I can guarantee you, everything that I own, everything I hold dear in this world, that will not happen. You know, Keir Starmer, they sort of dismissed it as a national issue taking place in a local election. But actually, no, we fought it on our local record, and it was a strong local record, savings of over 700 million across all of our councils. The facts of the matter are with us here, that it's not a protest movement, that this is a national movement. And that all matters. I think actually the Labour Party response will be to double down, Alex. I think that actually on benefits reform.
Yeah, they would do it even more. He won't get it.
About what we take in as far as gross domestic product is concerned, that actually that's going to continue on steroids. You will never see welfare reform under this Labour government. He tried it once, he couldn't do it. They're coming back for a second bite of the cherry. I bet you it'll fail again, because the answers are going to be to move in a more left-wing direction, probably in a more, dare I say, Angie Rayner direction. But actually, if Keir Starmer does stay, Alex, I'll be like the cat that got the cream, because he is the best spokesperson for Reform UK and against the Labour Party that we've ever seen. He doesn't represent Britain. He doesn't represent work in Britain. He doesn't represent ordinary families who are just crying out for help and support right now. He doesn't get it. In fact, he has utter contempt for everything that we hold dear. He was architect of the second referendum campaign, and he has continued to betray us as Prime Minister.
Keir Starmer's
was a grand...
It's never been truer words, has it?
Sooner that they are out of office and we are in it, well, God, I can't wait for that.
We're in this together, everyone.
Is there not a difficulty here, though, facing reform? But actually, we've seen polling, we've seen promises, and we have seen delivery in the first lot of local elections, now built upon in these local elections. So, as you well know, reform may control certain councils. And so people are going to be able to see what they do in positions of leadership. And it's not the difficulty that a lot of the things that are concerning people, such as mass migration, such as cost of living, it's very difficult for people at local level to control those things. So much is imposed from the top down. And so is there a risk that people will look at a reform record in office through a local government perspective and say, well, nothing seems to have changed?
Well, I've had that put to me this morning already, Alex. And actually in Durham, for example, we have put forward a planning change to our planning regulation to actually say that HMOs, that's homes with multiple occupancy, have to go through our planning committee in order to be granted permission. Now, we ain't going to be granting permission for Labour's migrant problem to be brought up into deprived areas of County Durham, which is exactly what happens in my patch. I represent one of the most deprived areas in the country, never mind in the county. And we are used as a dumping ground, a glorified dumping ground. We will resist that in any way, shape or form possible, and every reform authority that's taken from Labour will do exactly
Yeah, cost of living. And you know what, the thing that I think has really pissed people off? Genuinely?
And we will pull every single lever that's available to us.
I mentioned this the other week. I think one thing that's really got to people, is English people in particular, is we've seen how local businesses have been destroyed. I said this from where my folks live, and like pie mash shops are going, pubs are going, nightclubs are going. Like, life in the UK is changing at such a drastic rate that it isn't really Britain. It isn't. And again, this isn't solely under Starmer. You know what I mean? This has been happening under the Conservatives as well. But you have all of these people in this country that are so absolutely deluded, absolutely nonchalantly ignoring the fact that the country is changing in the rate at which it is changing. The government's not listening. Like, how many, you know what I mean? You're sick of me saying it, you're sick of everything. This is why people are voting reform. The same reason they did with Trump in America. They're sick of the same old shit being told to them. Yeah, chip shops are insane prices. Go for a kebab and that, and you spend 15 quid, 10, 15 pound on a kebab and chips. You're like, what is this? Like, I'm not in Harrods. Oh shit, I don't like the look of that thing. That looks scary. I'm not going near that. Right, sorry, I'll continue.
In defence of what our residents want, Alex. So yeah, I agree that it has to come from national government ultimately to stop the boats and all these other pull factors.
Like if Starmer done that, if Starmer got into number 10, and one of his first things was that, reform would have no success. If he would have banned illegal migrants, if he would have done something about that and literally stopped the boats, there would no hate on reform, you know. I don't like Labour and all that way, but that is a big part of it, and they've completely ignored that and thinking, well, no, people are stupid. People are stupid. They don't really want that. They don't want the boat stopped. The English people are idiots. That's how Labour has treated people, and so has the Conservatives. And people are not fucking stupid. But you're going to still see it on social media after this vote, how it's all the people that are voting this way are racist. You're going to see it everywhere. So you just have to laugh at these clowns. It's nothing to do with that. People are just sick of the crap.
The repercussions on hard-pressed people in normal areas who are being absolutely pummeled because of Labour's inaction here, well, we can make change, and we will make change.
The next thing I've got to ask you, though, is, and you're the best person really to ask this, because as a result of all of these seats being announced, 397 is it so far for reform, these are individuals who have not been elected before for the most part. Yes, there'll be some who have defected. Yes, there'll be other people who may have had experience standing for another political party, but I'd imagine a great number of these men and women are brand new to politics, brand new to local government. And that was you not so long ago. Yeah. How hard is it when you've not done it before, when you've not got that experience, and you don't necessarily have an experienced team around you, that you're all relatively new together, all wet behind the ears? How hard is it to have an impact? Is there a sort of learning curve you have to go through?
Well, I think actually I am grateful, intensely grateful actually, that I did go into it without any experience, and that most of our team did the same thing. There were only 4 of us who had been elected before in Durham. Now, what that meant was that we come into it with fresh thinking, that we look at the priorities we want to deliver. That's getting rid of the net zero, it's protecting our communities from migrant HMOs, all of these issues that you come at with fresh eyes and you say, how do we actually get solutions? You're not in the quagmire of the sort of drummed down by the civil service.
Do you know what? I might treat myself in a minute. I might make myself some noodles, you know.
How can we actually deliver the prospectus that we were...
I think it's time for some noodles.
You know, Kent cut 67 million in the first 6 months. I don't think that would have happened with the legacy parties. We renegotiated an incinerator contract and saved 73 million, not just for Durham, but millions for other parts of the northeast of England as well. You come into things, Alex, you look at the contracts, you see things for the first time with fresh eyes, and that actually allows you to say, how do we deliver...
Yeah, it might be noodles time. Just after this, I'll finish this quick game, I'm gonna...
Who, you know, if you vote blue or vote red, you basically got the same prospectus. You definitely ain't gonna get that with Reform UK. So I say bring on that inexperience, because it actually allows you to go into these things as your residents want you to, which is to cut the waste, keep the taxes low, protect frontline services, and deliver for them in their local areas.
Talking about being new to things, what about the party apparatus? Because Nigel Farage, who I think is very good at reading the political tea leaves, I've known him for 20 years, and he makes predictions in advance of everybody else that seem a bit wild, and then all too often they come to pass. And he suggested at your national conference last year that he thinks the general election could come as soon as 2027. That actually, with all this clamouring for Sir Keir Starmer to be replaced, if successful, we could end up with a very early shock to the markets and shock to our already fragile economy. If it comes to pass that there is an early general election, has Reform built out And has it got depth and has it got breadth enough to handle that when you go into HQ, when you look at branches being set up around the country? Because this is still, in comparative terms, an extremely nascent political project. There's been a lot to do and not much time to do it in. Do you think you guys are on track?
Yeah,
No.
look, we have been building every single month, Alex. There is something different. You know, I was elected to the party board by our members, and I see at every board meeting the way in which actually the professionalisation of the party is moving apace. You know, whether that be doing media training with candidates, whether that be building the actual local government machinery that's necessary to actually maintain and run these local authorities that we are winning in large number, and actually being able to build up to that general election prospectus too. It's changing every single month, and actually the actual membership base that we are building to, that helps actually maintain and build upon the structures that we have right now. It's a totally different beast from, you know, some absolutely beautiful former MEP back in the Brexit Party days, Alex, of old. It's a totally different beast now from what you remember it being, and actually that's happened apace. It continues apace. So I do think we'll be ready, because you know what, Alex? We damn well have to be ready. This country needs reform in every way, shape and form. And you're right about Nigel Farage. You know, he's been doing this. He hates it when I say this, actually, but he's been doing this since I was born. Right? Since I was put on this planet, he's been doing this. And he's
right. Let's quickly go and make some noodles. 1 minute.
The core principles of where we need to be.
I shall start now. I shall be back in a second, kids.
Reform UK, we're delivering where we actually govern. We'll continue doing that, and we're building up that central machine in a really quite incredible way at incredible speed. You know, the Spectator just commented this morning saying that actually it shows how Reform are doing this in unprecedented circumstances, where it actually makes the SDP back in the 1980s look like, you know, small fry.
Fascinating things. Of course, I remember UKIP revolt as well as the Brexit Party.
Indeed, yes, indeed.
Shows my age. I think when I first met Nigel, he was the age I am now. That's about 20 years ago. Staggering. It's all gone by in a flash. Stay where you are, Darren. Let's bring in a caller, and this is Daniel in Epsom. Good morning, Daniel.
How you doing? I'm full of hope.
Oh wow, I'm okay. You know, I'm good. Glad to hear you're so pucker. Can I guess as to why might you be a Reform voter?
Oh, I think I am a reform voter, and I am absolutely filled with joy and full of hope that they'll win the next general election and rescue the people from this awful socialist government who seem to be diametrically opposed to everything that the British majority want. I can't understand that. I just can't understand how they ever got in power.
I think it's because people just didn't vote for the Conservatives, if I'm honest with you. But so have you got full hope then that this is now the pathway to success, that this is the 11th hour, the prayer has been answered, and that actually the country can get back on the right tracks? Because we've still got that Labour government, and potentially are still going to have that Labour government through until 2029.
Yeah, I mean, we might have to put up with it for longer than we'd like, but I think they're probably going to veer to the left. They have to, because they're backbenchers. They can't do anything. They're stifled at every turn. They can't make welfare and benefits. They can't lower it because their backbenchers won't let them. They're hamstrung. So if they move to the left, we've got more economic disorder, more mass immigration. I mean, you've got people walking into shops freely, just stealing. They've got immigrants raping,
Change of plan, I'm having pasta.
women and attacking people.
Farage's fluffers. You funny bunch.
To stop this. This can't carry on.
I mean, let's bring Darren back into this, because I'm squinting, I need to put my bins on actually, squinting at the screens to see what the sort of cumulative figure of seats is right now. And when we look at changing results, we tend to look at gains and losses, don't we? That someone's up this amount or down this amount. But when you look at in terms of actual seats gained, what is quite startling, what is quite stark, and we are, you know, not even, well, we're about a third of the way through at this stage. What is quite interesting is Reform 397, then thereafter Conservatives 257, Labour 253, Lib Dems 249. Now, Reform have got a march on. They have got more seats than other people. But if you look at those other parties, Green at present only on 51.
All right, here we go.
Very neck and
Let's have a little bit of
in the real terms of things,
a lunch
in
break.
real terms of seats, yes, the Conservatives have lost a lot. Yes, the Labour Party have lost a lot. But we're looking at least from where I'm sitting right now, a sort of 3-4 horse race at the top.
All right, let's give me a sec. That one, and let's find a store. Let's watch something, and we can do a little bit of a lunch vibe. Let's have a look. Where are my videos? Watch later. Oh, let's watch this. I want to see this because this will make me laugh.
Let's get another line in. Would you got this?
Yeah, I got myself a nice. I was going to have noodles, but I've got chicken and smoked bacon pasta. Chicken and smoked bacon pasta. That will do. Absolutely lovely.
Breaking news line coming out as Nigel Farage has suggested his party was on course for a general election victory at the Reform UK.
I mean, is that true? Is that false?
He compared
time will tell.
Substantial gains made tonight to clearing Beecher's Brook, a famously difficult jumper course in the Grand National. If you're not careful, can take to the Knackers Yard. Now, he said, "This for me was our Beecher's Brook. If we clear Beecher's Brook and we landed well, we go on to win the Grand National. This is very clear to me. What is very clear to me is that our voters will stick with us now all the way through. They are not lending their vote to Reform anymore." Perhaps the Reform cocktail bar is taking a slight effect there. Beecher's Brook, of course, that's the famous final difficult jump on the Grand National. Nigel Farage saying this for me was our Beecher's Brook. If we cleared it and we landed well, we go on to win the Grand National. And adding a further point there.
Well, we'll see.
Very clear to me now is our voters will.
It would be mad, wouldn't it?
All the way through. They are not lending their vote to Reform. I want to get to my panel now. Fahima Mohammed, I want to come back to you too.
Oh, she's going to love this.
Zach Polanski has said, as we keep intimating, the Green seats are coming in later, but they're picking up well. Green now's on 27. As we move into London, you'll expect to make more gains. They're still way behind the Conservatives, who are now in fourth on 55. But presumably, you echo your leader's desire. You want Sir Keir Starmer to take a long walk off a short pier.
Yeah, I mean, at the end of the day, we see a lot of people screaming that. But again, I do feel that we need to wait at the end of the night to see exactly what the actual polls
But your
say.
leader doesn't. He says go
Yeah,
now.
no, absolutely. But I do feel that we are jumping a lot right now because, yes, Labour's losing. And if Reform are winning in the working class Labour areas, that shows obviously that Labour's 24 coalition is fragile. And if the Greens are gaining in the urban progressive areas, that shows that obviously we are taking some of Labour's votes as well. But then with the Conservatives, they are obviously losing, you know, to Reform and the Greens.
The Green Party is gaining the Asian vote.
It's quite fragile.
Let's just not beat around the bush anymore. That's what they're doing. They're gaining the Asian one.
We have to sort of...
Yeah, ma'am. Chicken and bacon rules.
How can you say the right is fragile when Reform are on 197?
Because I do
votes,
feel that we are still
and
taking...
the nearest competitor to the Labour Party is 63.
I still feel that the right is still fragile.
It's 2.5 times the vote.
Because it depends on the certain areas, like I said, working class, urban areas, it will all come together at the end. I don't think it's going to be exactly as we are seeing it right now.
I mean, at the minute, what you're seeing, actually, though, is a rise in the right-wing bloc of the vote, if we even are talking about right versus left these days. But what I'm wondering about the Greens, right, is I think you're a bit high on your own supply at the minute. Because what we've seen is...
That's funny. That's funny.
To their credit, everybody was saying, oh, you know, they're plateauing, they don't have it. But what they've done over the last year and a half, to their credit, is figure out a ground game, get good data, convert the enthusiasm that people feel about Reform into actually good campaigning nows. I don't think the Greens have that yet. I don't think
Of course
that the
not. We
people who
don't
are
have
coming out
billionaire
to you
backings.
are knocking on doors to the levels that you'd like.
We
and I
don't
think Zach
have-
Polanski also, just to finish, I think he's shown this week that he's not ready. He's not ready. He is a social media character more than anything else.
I don't
and not
think
a serious
anyone's
politician.
ready until they come into power. That's how I feel.
Well, you have to be sort of.
No,
ready, don't
I
you?
really do feel that no one's ready until they come into power. And yes, he's only been in politics for a short amount of time compared to everyone else. But even in that short amount of time, to make this much noise and to...
It's funny because she's sitting there going, oh, Zach Polanski, it's great, great, great. It's bollocks. I'm sorry, it's absolute rubbish. It's rubbish. Because we all know what the Green Party's about. That's why every single Muslim is joining. Every single Muslim who's a Conservative, Labour, Reform, wherever, they're all going to end up joining the Green Party. Every single one of them.
actually be part of the political race right now is a huge sort of, gain.
All right, let's get Harrison involved now because there's been a lot of Reform UK news coming in there. Nigel Farage, clearly, he in his mind, is at the races. He's having. Let's be frank. He's having a really good race tonight. That point, I think, is really interesting. And Tom, I'd like to get your thoughts on this as well. And that is, a lot of people in the Conservative Party thought Conservatives were lending their vote to Reform. They were lending their vote to Reform to make the Conservatives just be Conservative again, a bit like the Green Party. Oh, they'll come back. They'll come back because when we tack back to where they want us to be, they'll come back to the fold. Nigel Farage is saying tonight that's not the case. This isn't a lending a vote anymore. It's a reset of how people vote altogether.
Absolutely.
Yeah, Zach's a bit of a wally, isn't he? I mean, I don't hate him. I don't really hate him. I don't think he's a bad person, but it's a bit of a clown show, isn't it?
Okay, that is very much a template for people to vote against. And if people wanted to go back to the Conservatives, it would have happened by now. And just to go back onto the point of when you're saying Green people are more likely to do well in socially progressive. I mean, look, I'm in a very woke area, right, where the Lib Dems do well there. But I've got to say, Greens are not serious.
Sorry, woke. You heard me here first. The former Conservative heartland, the Liberal Democrats stormed the last elections.
They're economically right-wing, socially left-wing, right? That is the services.
Using the internet without a VPN and virtual
in adverts, I hate this.
Is a bit like taking...
Pardon me.
One thing that is for sure is that the Greens are just not serious people. They're just not.
No, they're not.
As serious people, and they're actually seen as very dangerous in a lot of these.
Before for him,
I could say exactly the same about Reform, to be honest. And you've been around.
You're seeing it as she's seeing it as a danger because it's about patriots, and she doesn't want that. That's what it's about. So Fahima, you can kiss me arse.
For quite some time, and you have $1 million backings. So at the same time, it's also great gaining those councils, but maintaining. A lot of your actual councils have actually been, fired.
Is that why we're doing so well? Do you think, at the end of the day, people are the bosses, the voters are the bosses?
But let's see if they stay.
The Liberal Democrats have the highest average increase in council tax. You have no leg to stand on, okay?
Leaflets going around saying, I'm not going to hike council tax.
No, that just wasn't a thing.
One at a time, please, gentlemen. May I also interject and could across you both just a quick breaking news on Reform UK have now breached the 200 mark. They're now on 203 seats. Labour still down there on 65. They've hemorrhaged 147. They've lost 147. Liberal Democrats now 63. Conservatives 58. Greens putting on at 29. Independents on 10. They're down 11. The independent vote hasn't come through. Harrison, tell Fahima again why you think she's dangerous, because I want to have a break so I can kick...
Yeah.
But it doesn't seem as extreme. I mean, you talk...
They are.
Absolutely.
Is what your voting is.
Especially in the last few weeks and that horrific attack that we saw in Golders Green, where you've got your leader who is taking the side against the brave police.
That wasn't... No, that framing is wrong. He wasn't taking the side. He just had a question.
Your leader had to apologise, OK? And credit where credit's due, but the mask slipped with the Greens. Absolutely.
I don't think so.
Absolutely did. And you know what? As someone who's knocked on nearly 5,000 doors, that's shown in an area where you could do potentially OK. You are just not seen as serious people. You just aren't.
I do not believe that, because at the end of the day, when it comes to seriousness, it doesn't just mean about you going out there and putting policies...
Your leader didn't even know the difference.
No, it comes down to them. They're going to be the Muslim party. Let's just cut the crap. You know what I'm saying? Like, let's just not... let's not beat around the bush. And again, whether that's a good thing or a bad thing, I'll leave that up to everyone's interpretation. But that's what it's about. The Green Party will become the party of Islam. It's as simple as that. It's not an opinion. That's what it's going to become by the next general election. So you can agree with that or disagree with it. Don't really care. But at the end of the day, she's an extreme woman. She's anti-British. She doesn't give a crap about the flag. Everything's racist to her. So, yeah.
Between the deficit and the debt, how can you say that's serious?
Listen,
he thinks debt doesn't exist. He thinks,
no, that's not correct. And also the framing matters.
What do you mean
okay?
it's not correct?
No, the framing matters. You have just framed him completely incorrectly. He did not go against what the police, is doing his job. It was a question that was wrong timing.
Yeah, well,
it was wrong timing.
That's all it was. They've also had to bring in a former
because
Tory.
we're doing so well, they're all coming in now.
On the economy, you've had to bring in a failed Tory minister as your shadow chancellor to balance the books. Can I finish? And to say to disavow the former promises of a massive tax cuts at the next general election.
Let me respond. On one hand, we've not got enough experience, and then when you take on people who do have experience in government, then it's like, oh no, but you're taking people.
They're not really experienced. They're just failed Tories. So at the same time, I would say you also are, threatening your voters, especially with the latest policy of trying.
Threatening your voters. Hello. She just said threatening your voters. I'll tell you what's a threat. Threatening if you don't vote the way that Keir Starmer wants you to vote, all the MPs will be fired. Well, they've all just lost their jobs anyway, all of the councillors. They've all just lost their jobs anyway. So he threatened them with voting a specific way in Parliament and specific ways regarding these councils, these local election councils, regarding the grooming gang inquiry, all of these things that he forced them to do. And now they've all lost their jobs anyway because they've done what they were told by the leader, Supreme Leader Starmer. What a mug.
Place detention centres where
most decent people think green is dangerous, just to let you know.
No, not necessarily. That's just your side and what you're saying. We're not dangerous. We are just speaking what most people are actually talking about, and it's the newer generation. And I'm really surprised that you're actually saying that right now.
Let's pick up on that.
Well, it should speak more volumes.
Harrison, let's pick up on that one policy point. I think it's an interesting one. And that is when Nigel Farage said, if you vote for a Green Party MP, we're going to chuck all the detention centres in your area.
Well,
there was this spasm of pearl clutching from the political left.
Even
it's a win-win, surely.
And it was like, well, this is like fascism.
Yes.
And look at the results tonight.
Well, at the end of the day, it's not just, like I said, this is not a crystal ball. This is just something that is just going to highlight that people are angry, but it does not mean that the general election is going to work out that way.
So what was your issue with that policy, just to be clear?
Firstly, Reform does not have the right and authority to do that.
No,
and the issue of that, firstly, detention. Let me answer. The detention in the first place, we don't want people like in the ICE-style detention centres, and you cannot go and put them in green sort of like councils, because you'll still have your own Reform voters there as well, and you are threatening and punishing.
So it sounds like you don't want...
Yeah, it sounds like they don't want migrants there. So what she's talking about is that is the threat that they're going to put these places to house migrants and everywhere in green areas. Well, at the end of the day, the Greens are the ones that are out. Are they not? All of these protests. We're going to see it with the United Kingdom protests coming up in London. You're going to see all of these morons. You're all welcome. You're all welcome. OK, you're all welcome. So in all of the green areas, in all the constituencies, all those areas, why don't you house all of the migrants then? Because you're also welcome to them. And I'm like, great, cool. Have them in your areas. And she's like, no, that's a threat. How is that a threat? You're the one saying they're not a problem. You're the one saying that they're good people. So why don't you welcome them then? That does not make any sense.
Them in those areas, there's a sense of irony.
No, it's not about that. You're not reading what I'm trying to say.
Yeah.
I'm just saying that if you're going to say something, it shouldn't be about threats, and it shouldn't be.
It's not a threat. It should just be.
Punishing.
It's just giving you what you want. It's giving migrants are welcome. Okay, green areas. Put all the migrants there then.
Voters.
It's giving you what you want.
You guys are brutal. You're the dangerous one. Really.
You guys are brutal. You don't. Yeah, give people what they want, and apparently that's evil. She's a nut job. Absolute nut job. Right, let's see. What's this? Bringing Nottingham's masked kids home to their mums. Oh my goodness. That sounds interesting. They will stop the boats. Really? I don't know if I'll believe that. Let's go back to the elections then.
So we will engage constructively in the aftermath of this election campaign.
No, we're not watching the BBC, my bad. The BBC can kiss me backside.
And whether or not progressive parties close to the general election actually begin to club together to try and stop reform. And we did some work on...
You're damn right, Joe. Do you know what? People have said that I'm overreacting and I'm trying to create something that's not there. If you're so in favour of all of this stuff, as a person, if you're so in favour of all of this stuff, you should be welcoming into it, you know? Your front door should be open then. OK, your front door should be open. But these people, they're not. They're like, it's always the excuse, oh, well, I don't want it near me, like that woman just did. I don't want it near me. Well, you're the one who wants them here. We don't.
Right.
I don't fucking want them here. I don't want them here.
Team up.
I want British people here. I don't care.
Form the next government if
Britain first. British people first.
What I found was when you poll Reform and Conservative voters, they don't like the other party. They don't want a deal. They don't. If they do a deal, Reform voters won't vote for Reform because they really don't want to vote for the Conservatives. And likewise. But what I think is, what's interesting is whether or not progressive parties and progressive voters in the end begin to vote tactically in order to try and keep reform out. And I think that's going to be a bigger debate as we go forward, right?
Yeah, look, I think there's no way. If you put together Reform and the Conservatives, and some people think that they're just two blocks, so you put them together and, you know, that's all powerful. I'm afraid that is not going to work because there are plenty, as you say, there are Reform voters who want to have nothing to do with the Conservatives, but I can tell you there are plenty of Conservative voters who do not want a Reform government. Actually, one of the things we have seen today in some places, we saw this in Bexley, we saw it in Broxbourne, is a lot of tactical voting by left-of-centre voters, Labour, Liberal Democrat, Green voters who've been voting Conservative to stop reform getting in. And that's how the Conservatives have held Bexley and held Broxbourne. And the Conservatives, I think, you know, we need to remember that.
Nikki, are you still with me?
If we are seen as being too close, if we are seen as being inevitably going into some kind of coalition with reform, we will lose those tactical voters, and we will be much more vulnerable in those.
Can you send me some pictures of you in a bikini?
It's good to analyse where Greens taken votes from Labour and that's let reform through the middle. So when those
Sorry, I just felt like being an idiot. Sorry.
There's another result.
Love you. Sorry.
Wolverhampton is going to remain under Labour majority control. 14 seats still to go. Labour had.
I was just checking. Do you hate when I pick on you? I'm sorry.
Labour so far lost.
Me and you, Nick.
Wolverhampton will stay Labour. I think that's Pat McFadden's patch, isn't it?
Yeah, it's and it is, isn't it?
Right, where are we? Buried City. Let's go this way.
Down 7 seats and Reform up 8. I mean, again, it's the same story, isn't it? It really is. And like you say, a few marginal constituencies over there too that I think
Bit windy out here, guys.
be worried when they overlay that electoral map. The other seat that I wanted to bring you as well was Eastwood in Scotland, because the SNP have gained this, and it's at the expense of the Conservatives. So this is quite an affluent area. It's to the southwest of Glasgow. Key SNP target with Kirsten Oswald, who's a former local MP. And she's done it. She's unseated Jackson Carlow, the former Scottish Conservative leader there. Let's have a little spin through that one, shall we, and have a look at the vote share and then the change in vote share, which is the one I think that tells us so much. Yeah, the Conservatives really down, aren't they? SNP down as well. It's not like they won that seat because they piled on a load more votes than last time. They've done it because the Conservatives have lost votes to Reform, which has let the SNP in. So an awful lot going on, an awful lot to unpick, I think it's fair to say. We're starting to get those results through from Wales, of course, and I just wondered if it is worth just lingering on that a little bit more.
Yeah.
Beth, you know, you've been talking, haven't you, about if it does end up with Reform being the opposition in Scotland, if Labour loses Wales, we've seen the results in England. I mean, what are you picking up when it comes to pressure on Keir Starmer's leadership?
He should be gone.
I think it's fair to say, and I think, honestly, people in Number 10 would say this as well, that a couple of weeks ago, certainly, it felt very, very, very hairy for Keir Starmer. It was.
I mean, he should have gone with the Mandelson stuff. Let's be real. He lied. Come on. He should have been gone.
Challenges. I think in the past week or so, it has calmed down a little bit, and I think actually, and I know, Dawn, I'm not going to press you on it. I'm not going to. I actually couldn't get you to say something you didn't want to anyway. So, but I mean, look, what we're seeing is Dawn's here today. John McDonnell's been in earlier, and you know, Lucy Powell. I did an interview with her earlier in the week. And what you're hearing is a lot of Labour Party members, MPs on the soft left of the party, are acknowledging that there is a leadership issue, but they're also talking about Andy Burnham. And I think that actually what's partly going on here is, and I'm not going to, I mean, you say, I'm not going to try and put words in your mouth, Dawn, but I think what is happening is there's a chunk of the party that think that when they talk about star players on the pitch, like want Andy Burnham to come back into Parliament potentially. If Keir Starmer cannot turn things around, can Andy Burnham give the party a better shot? And what would be the thought process of that? He's a clean skin. He's not been part of the Westminster establishment, if you like, for the past few years. He's popular as the Manchester mayor. There's a sense that he can both talk to those Labour heartlands, but also can he appeal to younger people by being a different type of leader, talking about a different type of agenda, OK? And so I think, you know, when you talk about Keir Starmer's leadership, there is a sense that, you know, it's not recoverable with the voters, with the public. It's got so bad, he's become so unpopular. Now, his team and he himself would say, give me more time, I've got to deliver the change, I've got to give a more optimistic message to the country, give me some more time, and we can turn things around. But, you know, he and his team know the polls have to improve, the performance has to improve. But what's interesting is that although there is that sort of sense of gloom, there's no settlement on who might be a replacement, would it improve things, and the timing or manner with which that should happen. And that's where the Labour Party is at the moment.
He's going to give a speech on Monday, and I think it's going to be important to see what is contained in that speech. It can't be all the old sort of platitudes. It's got to be really bold. We've got to talk about policies. We have to bring people in to the tent, people with experience, you know, that were in government before, not just sort of newbies and friends and this factionalism. So I do want to see what he says on Monday, and I think it's good to have that opportunity.
Do you want, Dawn? What do you want to hear? Because he's going to say, I need to change, or I need to deliver change further and faster. But I've heard him say that
a million times, yeah.
Dozens of times. So what do you actually want meat on the bones in terms of policy? What do you want to see?
I want to see more progressive policy. So the stuff that we're doing around bringing in rail into ownership, public ownership, that's really important because that would bring the bills down. The stuff that we're doing around green energy, that's really important that Ed Miliband's doing. That will bring people's bill down, make us more sustainable as a country. So we're not just relying on gas and oil. There's loads of things that we can be doing. How we reform our high streets. You know, I want to end aim to permit so that we can stop gambling establishments. That's one of my policies. And making sure that we protect people in the NHS by protecting the nurses' titles. I mean, not that I've thought about this, but I have got a long list of things that I'd like to see a Labour government. We don't get to govern very often. And when we do, it's got to be something that people feel, you know, in their everyday lives.
Keir Starmer's sort of had a few events, hasn't he? He's had MPs into Downing Street, he's invited MPs down to Chequers. I even heard he was in the tea room the other day. Have you been invited to one of his events, and when you talk to him directly, do you think he gets it, and is he...
No, he don't get it. I think we all can agree that.
So I'm chair of the London Parliamentary Labour Party, and so we now have regular meetings with Number 10 and
Is
Keir.
that
I mean,
new?
it is new, very new,
Okay.
and it has changed since Morgan has departed. So there has been a change in regards to reaching out, and that's why I think, Beth, you're finding that there's a little more leeway in terms of, okay, this is, it's a start, But, you know, we've kind of wasted a lot of time. We should have been in this position in the beginning. So there has been a lot more engagement.
Interesting to see after that meeting, after the London results come in. Let's look at a couple of results that we can bring you the details of now.
Oh dear.
One is St Albans, so leafy, Hertfordshire, kind of well-off commuter belt. Lib Dems hold this. I mean, they couldn't lose their majority, so that's not a surprise. But it's interesting to see there that actually a seat has been gained by the Conservatives at the expense of the Lib Dems, perhaps some of those kind of green shoots in kind of classic Tory commuter belt that some people are expecting to see. So the Lib Dems do hold on, though, to St Albans.
So
the
it's
next one, I think we can bring
the one with the legs. It's there.
In Scotland, Galloway and Dumfries West. Now, this was a Conservative defence that was thought to be vulnerable to the SNP, South Scotland. And you can see there the Conservatives have held on. Their majority is 1,599. Let's have a look at the vote share first. So you can see the Conservatives there holding on to Galloway and Dumfries West. And this is the change in share of the vote. Interesting. So they are down. Conservatives are down 8.7%. The SNP are down as well. And again, it's Reform that is picking up the votes there. So look, again, we're seeing Reform cannibalising the votes of the Conservatives north of the border, just as they have south of the border. But it's not enough in Galloway. The Conservatives have held on. And I think, you know, the SNP were their main challengers there. And the SNP's votes down as well. So I think perhaps a bit of a breath of relief for the Conservatives there. What would you make of that one?
Yeah, no, that's a relief. Yes, there's those sort of southern border seats. The Conservatives really need to hold on to those, and also come back to the St Albans. You know, want a seat. Those are the sorts of seats. You know, not that long ago, St Albans was a very safe Conservative seat. It used to be a Conservative council. You know, somewhere like Hertfordshire, which I used to represent, we should be doing much better. And I do think we need to be speaking to those voters. And you know, I'm involved in an organisation, Prosper UK, that is trying to sort of connect more widely with the electorate. But you know, particularly those seats are ones that the
So it doesn't do it that way.
Do you think that this is a sign? I know it's only one seat. Is it a sign that that's happening, or is it a case of not enough has been done?
It's forward. You've got to go, not up. Okay.
We need to sort of speak to those voters. Very often, you know, somewhere like St Albans, a lot of people who've moved out of London, younger, aspirational voters. We're not connecting with those voters as well as we should. I'm pleased we've won a seat in St Albans, but you know, it's a pretty small step.
The problem is that if you go out to voters in St Albans, right, you know, speak to them, you might put off voters where you are absolutely hemorrhaging support to Reform in other parts of the country. I mean, there's not enough St Albans voters, are there, is, I guess, my point.
I think there are a lot of voters that we know who
yeah, no worries, Seven.
Consider themselves to be on the centre ground of politics, who are prepared to vote for parties of the left or the right, depending upon the arguments. They're frankly not...
Let me just get out of this map and then we'll do it.
I don't think they're hugely enthused by the Liberal Democrats either. Those voters are up for grabs. And if the Conservative Party is going to recover, we have got to reconnect with those voters. It used to be the bedrock of the Conservative support, and we have somewhat ignored them for some years. That's not Kemi Badenoch's fault, that's the situation that she inherited. But if we are to succeed at the next election, we have got to talk to those voters to a greater extent than we are at the moment.
Can I also say, I think the Reform strategy was to target non-voters as well. So their target there was to motivate non-voters to come out and vote. They had a lot of money, more money than any other party, so they did a lot of direct mails and things
They're
like
just
that.
doing all of this crap about, oh, they've got money. What do you think Labour and Conservatives have been doing over the last 100 years with bribes, money, corruption? You know, like, honestly.
To analyse how people...
You must think people are stupid. They must think people are absolute morons.
Upset about one policy or one thing, and like you were saying, in terms of they might vote Labour, they might vote Tory, you know, they're very interchangeable. But that's where I think the next set of how we look at how people vote and why will be delivered, looking at the machine learning.
We can talk now to the Conservative peer and former Scottish Conservative leader, Ruth Davidson, who's in East Lothian for us today, of course. Great to have you here with us, Ruth. What do you make of the results so far?
Yeah, so Scotland, a bit like other parts of the country, there's a lot of individual kind of seats. We've got just about enough data now to start extrapolating. Our vote is down, probably down around 10 points. The SNP vote is down. The disruptor in there is Reform. It's coming up through the ranks. It's
The disruptor.
Labour's not doing as well as they might have hoped to do maybe sort of 18 months ago. But because of that extra disruption, because we've gone from 5 parties competing in some seats to 6, we're now looking at the SNP have done very well in terms of wins, even though their vote share is significantly down on last time around.
Ruth, it's Beth here.
Hi, Beth.
I don't know why you're on Sky News, not on electoral dysfunction, or why am I on Sky News?
Well, I think we're doing both. And if people want to, we weren't in their feed this morning for their usual sort of 6 a.m. hit of electoral dysfunction podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. But they can listen to us tonight because we're going to do an election special.
Oh, I love that plug, Ruth. Just in terms of the Conservative result, I mean...
I'll see you, Ben. I didn't see you, man.
...have been saying that this is the sort of green shoots of a Conservative revival. But when you look at Reform's performance and where the Conservative Party are, I mean, you might be the official opposition now, but the real opposition around the country is Reform. How depressing do you find that?
Yeah, so I think David was talking a lot of sense there. Obviously, we took an absolute cuffing at the general election in 2024. Kemi's come in, she's tried to pick the party up off the canvas, she's trying to sort of rebuild us. Now, I think there are green shoots of recovery around the country. I think we are doing better than we were doing 2 years ago. But I think that if we're going to get back on the pitch and be a proper player and in contention to form a government again anytime soon, we have to speak to more people than we're doing. And we have to add constituencies of purpose as well as just target constituencies of place. So, what is our offer to young people? What is our offer to public sector workers? What is our offer to business owners? We have to start putting that sort of stuff together. Now, the work started, but it's also about not just chasing people we've lost to Reform, which was the focus that the party has had for some time. And again, David's right, that's something that Kemi inherited. It's not something that's necessarily of her own making.
It's always someone else's fault again, isn't it?
Our best when we speak to a really broad part of the country. That's why an organisation like Prosper UK that's been set up within the Conservative Party is trying to also target those people that have left us to vote Labour or Lib Dem. So it's about how do we get ourselves back on the pitch? And, maybe this election, it sounds harsh. We've lost a lot of good colleagues, a lot of good councillors across the country. But I think at the moment we're returning better than the polls had us at. We can see the progress that is being made. We're going to stick with a leader which is more popular than any of the other party leaders in any of the polls that you have. And we need to sort of kick on from here.
Did you get it wrong then on Kemi Badenoch? Do you think you made the wrong call on her?
Well, my criticism at the beginning was that she wasn't being seen to kind of get round the country enough, and she wasn't being seen to kind of have the...
Oh, good old George Galloway. What a guy.
So incredibly hard when you're in opposition.
Big up,
it's so much
Cheeky. All good. Yeah, we'll be back live at 7 tonight, like for the proper show.
What we've seen in recent weeks and months is the fact that she has been getting out of London. She has been getting to different parts of the country. She has been starting that really, really hard work of, the listening tours, sitting down with people. And we need to see more of it. That's what we want. And we also want people to rally around the economic message, because that's where we can tie the most people in. Because so many people across our country have really felt the pinch, the cost of living crisis, the fact that it hasn't got better, their relative incomes don't seem to be covering the cost of their shopping, their petrol, all of these other sort of daily needs. For a good,
It's been a nightmare start to the results of local elections for Prime Minister Sir Keir Starmer, whose party has hemorrhaged support. So far, Labour has lost over 150 seats, but there are plans to potentially lose over 1,000.
Let me be clear, these are really tough results. I'm not going to sugarcoat it. And we have lost brilliant...
It's just going to be comedy gold. In years to come, this stuff here is going to be comedy gold like they did with Trump.
...into our party and our...
It's just comedy gold.
And the voters have sent a message about the pace of change, how they want their lives improved. I was elected to meet those challenges, and I'm not going to walk away from those challenges and plunge the country into chaos. Well, they've sent a message that the change that we promised...
You promised.
...delivered in a way...
So by someone else, isn't it, Starmer?
Frankly, they're fed up with years of the status quo. But we were elected to deal with those challenges. And I'm not going to walk away from that and to plunge the country into chaos. But I think it's absolutely clear that the fed up
with you.
the fact that their lives aren't changing quickly enough. And this has been going on for a very, very long time. I think that we were right to emphasise to the country the difficult inheritance we've had, the challenges we face. But we haven't done enough to convince people that things can improve, their lives can get better, the hope. And I'm not going to walk away from that challenge. We made a number of calls which were the right calls in terms of stabilising the economy, investing in our public services, and not getting dragged into the Iran war. But we also made unnecessary mistakes. And my job now is to set out the steps that we will take to bring about the change that people want and deserve. No, I'm not going to walk away and plunge the country into chaos. We were elected to deal with these challenges, and that's what we will do.
Now, the parties that have come well out of this, or done well rather, are the fringe, the ones on the fringes. It's reform and the Tories have done particularly well. Now, that's interesting because traditionally, when the ruling party's done badly, it's the opposition party that...
Good old Shabana.
But not in this case. It's the fringes, it's reform, it's the Greens, even the Liberal Democrats who have gained significantly. This is all before the results are declared in Wales and Scotland. Now, Wales is going to be a key test for the government because Labour has held Wales for decades. Now, a very interesting moment came tonight when David Lammy, the Deputy Prime Minister, was sent out to back the government. And when he was asked whether it's time for a change in leadership, David Lammy said, "We don't change the pilots during a flight." But John McDonnell, the Labour MP and Labour's former Shadow Chancellor, was in the studio, and he said, "You do when the plane is in nose dive."
Prime Minister, how long do you expect that to be? This has been 2 months of constant campaign, and I just want to begin by thanking councillors, members, volunteers, knocking on doors, delivering leaflets, working right out against what many British people found to be a tough set of elections because of the cost of living crisis made worse by Iran. I don't want to sugarcoat it.
I don't want to sugarcoat it.
This is tough elections.
We are the problem and everyone hates us, but I don't want to sugarcoat it.
Concerned about cost of living and wanting to see the government go faster and quicker. This is
Absolute delusion, isn't it?
Labour councillors have run positive campaigns based on NHS.
Well, it hasn't been positive. You've just got obliterated, son.
There's lots of discussion when Anas Sarwar
What else is there? That's what we had on, isn't it?
for him that he really had to
I'll leave that for a bit.
The national leadership in Westminster, that Eleanor Morgan would also call for Keir Starmer's resignation. She weighed in behind him. I'm going to be very interested to hear what she's going to say. I mean, some of the sources on the ground in Wales are suggesting she's not going to make a comment on Keir Starmer, but I imagine she's going to be asked about it repeatedly if anyone can get to her.
Yeah, well, let's continue with Wales, shall we? We can go to Dan Whitehead for us who's in Llandudno. Dan, another area of Wales coming in, another seats in the Senedd, and it's gone Plaid and it's gone Reform.
Yeah, it's gone to Plaid and Reform. We've had 2 of the 16 results so far, 16 new big constituencies in Wales, and they so far are in South Wales, they are in Labour heartlands previously at the last Senedd election. This election is completely different, as Beth was system, a whole new system, new constituencies, an increased number of members of the Senedd. But they have gone Casneath with Isloin and Penabont Bro Morganwg. They have had the same result, 2 members for Plaid, 2 members for Reform, one Labour and one Conservative. They were Labour strongholds previously. And talking about the demise of Labour, we've only had 2 of the 16, but it looks like it's going that way, an end to Labour dominance for the last century, and certainly since devolution began. An hour or so ago, Labour sent out a note saying that they admitted it had been a very difficult evening. They were expecting perhaps 10 members of the Senate out of 96. Sky sources believing in one briefing that our news editor Hannah has been at, thinking that it could be 9 members of the Senate, even worse than they had previously.
Yeah, David Lammy's a plum, isn't he? He's such a plum, the fella.
And thoughts of coalitions and so forth. A party has got to get 49 seats in the Senate to have a majority. Now, this new system of how they decide on the 6 seats per constituency makes it very difficult for a party to gain a majority. There is talk that maybe Plaid could get a majority. We'll see, and that would be...
What the fuck was that?
If it isn't the case, and we have, say, 40 seats for Plaid, and who knows about Reform as well, there's going to be difficult talks in the hours...
Ah, we're dead. I don't even know what that was.
...go on for
Don't matter.
Wales, because a lot of the parties have said outright that they don't want to work with Reform. And so who, for instance, would Plaid work with? Will Labour even have enough seats to potentially work with Plaid? Will they have to be the Greens in if they get their first seat in the Senate? So there's going to be some complicated potential coalition and discussion talks about who they can work with. There's lots of different ways that could happen, and that's certainly something for the weekend to watch on.
Hello, Seg, how are you?
It looks like in Wales it is going as the poll...
Hey, sexy lady.
...over the last 6 to 12 months, really.
I hope you're keeping well.
Horse race between Plaid Cymru, the Welsh Nationalist, and Reform UK, and at the minute they're neck and neck in terms of seats in the Senate, and those results are expected thick and fast, really, within the next hour.
I'm good, thank you very much. Very well indeed.
Situation in the next...
Very chilled, you know,
with
the usual.
Results in Wales, but
I'm well, thanks.
In that red belly of Wales, in the valleys, in the south, in those steelwork, in those mining areas, that they're going to Plaid, they're going to Reform.
And have you been keeping well?
And
my little buttercup?
Of this country, we should know, hopefully by 5, 6 o'clock, all being well, and then the talks may take place, and that could take days, if not a week or so.
Dan, thank you very much indeed. I mean, it is such a seismic result that we're seeing in Wales. Of course, only 2 of the areas coming in at the minute, but the story very, very clear already. I think from those 2 seats, you know, Plaid, Reform, picking up votes, and this area that, of course, was the historic kind of birthplace in many ways of the Labour Party. You know, kind of, if you look at Keir Hardie, if you look at Niall Bevan, the man who founded the NHS, you know, so rooted in Wales. It's very, very...
That's bloody awesome. Well done.
A very pointed...
That's good stuff. Well done, man.
The reality of what's happening now on the ground in Wales. I want to bring you the state of the parties now, if I may. We haven't done this for a while. Let's take a breath, shall we? Take a pause and have a look at the state of the parties currently, which I think we should be able to bring you now. We haven't got them, but we will bring you them as soon as we can. So this is in England that I think we can bring you, and it really does say the full picture there. So you see, this is Reform. So Reform are up 716 seats in total. They're up 4 councils, so it is pretty clear that Reform are the big winners of the night so far.
716 seats is insane, dude.
The Greens are up 92 seats, no change in the number of councils they run as well. So look, for the smaller parties, I mean, I don't know if you can even call Reform a smaller party now, but for the smaller parties, it is pretty clear.
So hang on, you have a proper Welsh accent then?
340.
Like Gavin and Stacey? You sound like one of them.
3 councils as well. And Labour, look at that, they are currently down 498 councillors, and they've also lost control of an additional 13 councils. One more result to bring you. They're coming in thick and fast from all corners of the United Kingdom now. This is Aberdeen, Donside, that I think we should be able to bring you. It's an SNP hold in Aberdeen. So this is, you know, Port City, one of the biggest cities in Scotland, the 3rd biggest city in Scotland. Jackie Dunbar has held on there for the Scottish National Party. Let's have a look, shall we, at the change of share.
Can't believe they've got 700 seats. That's that.
The share there in
That's a sackable offence for Starmer. He should be gone, mate.
It's on your screens now. So, again, once again, in Scotland, it is a story of the SNP losing vote share, but in the main, holding on to the seats because of the size of their majorities. But again, it's Reform who are picking up more than any of the other parties as well. In Aberdeen, Donside, they're cannibalising votes from the SNP and also the Conservative Party as well. That trend really continuing. Right, let's go to England now. We can go to Guildford, where Ed Davey, the leader of the Lib Dems, is speaking. Let's listen.
Do not want to go back to a party that took them for granted and failed them so badly. They don't want more of Labour. Labour has let them down deeply. But they have turned in some parts of the country to populist parties. Congratulations to them. But I don't think the change that the populists are offering, wild promises and division, is the change that our country needs or the change that millions of people actually want. And that success of those parties has left the Liberal Democrats as the only non-populist party.
Right, we're going to Inverclyde now in Scotland. These results coming in thick and fast. This is the SNP defence, but the leader of the Scottish Reform, Malcolm Offord, also running. Let's listen.
Head, Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party, 1,351. Macmillan Stewart, Scottish National Party, SNP, 14,193. Green, Jamie Gillan, Scottish Liberal Democrats, 1,954. Therefore, I give public notice that Stuart Macmillan is duly elected as the Member of the Scottish Parliament for the Inverclyde constituency. I'd like to congratulate Stuart on his election, and I will now give Stuart and the unsuccessful candidates the opportunity to say a few words. But first of all, can we please note that we will be immediately commencing the West of Scotland regional count at the counting tables, where our next step is to sort ballot papers into votes for parties or individual regional candidates, identify and again adjudicate on doubtful ballot papers and establish how many votes each party or individual regional candidate has. I will also be communicating these totals to the regional returning officer to aid his duties. The adjudication of
they've got it.
Commence shortly after the counting of votes is started.
1 minute.
And will be an ongoing.
It goes through all of it, doesn't it?
Candidates and agents wishing to observe this process should make their way to the adjudication area.
Surely, Aisha Ali Khan, something we talked about then, all eyes have got to be turning on to Keir Starmer. He's the man responsible. The buck stops with the captain of the ship. Is it time to throw him overboard? Come on.
No, they're all kind of they will go over all the results.
Thank you to Francesca and her team, because I know that the Labour Party locally campaigned tremendously for.
For one of those last of the 6 seats, and it was Labour that called for the recount, so that showed how much trouble they were in. It was a difference of about 111 votes, apparently. Labour called the recount, but Plaid Cymru are the ones that have come out on top. I think we can now go to Dan Thomas, leader of Reform in Wales. Danny there, hello to you.
Hello, yes, hello there.
You a happy man?
Yes, of course.
Right, the Queen is here.
Been elected in Newport on Island, so I'm very happy. But we're still waiting to hear all the results across Wales.
Let's try and help some people with the Queen.
One of the first few Reform.
She's that direction.
To become a member of the Senate here, elected. You have had defections, but that must be incredibly satisfying, given that you were a Tory councillor for Barnet for 20 odd years.
Well, that's in my past, and I've just led the Reform Wales campaign in Wales, and it's a huge privilege to be elected here.
Let's go fight the big Queen.
With the first constituency to declare. So, and yes, I was the first Senedd member for Reform to be declared. It's a huge honour, and there'll be many more other Reform Senedd members being declared for the rest of the year.
That direction.
I think now the results are coming through pretty thick and fast, but it's still a little bit too early to determine exactly where we are with the state of play across the parties.
But, you know, it's looking fairly good. I mean, Gawain Towler, who we've been speaking to a little bit earlier, senior figure in the party that obviously you know well, he suggested that if Reform did manage to become the majority party but didn't get an overall majority, that you wouldn't push to run a minority administration. Is that your thinking? Would that be your belief?
But we'd have to look at the numbers and the support.
Where is the big girl?
Parties have said that they wouldn't work with us. I don't think that's a mature way to do business.
There she is.
Kind of situation. But look, we'll do our best to form a government. But ultimately, we need the numbers, and that's what we're getting over the course of this afternoon. We'll see whether
we're going after the Queen, the big girl. There she is.
We have to look for support elsewhere.
But the Conservatives have said that they would work with you if they did manage to get enough seats that would help you. Would that be the way forward?
Let's just hope no one turns on us and takes us out of the game.
Obviously, they are an option. But there are other parties there. They have ruled us out. They might change their minds. Look, I think the left is pretty fragmented. I think they'll quickly descend into arguing personally. But we'll see how they get on. But we've got days and potentially weeks.
It's about to hit the fan, Seven. Get ready for it.
What was the message you think that you carried forward in this campaign?
I didn't see that news about Germany. I'll
with voters out
keep my eyes open.
I think it was the common sense policies and putting the people of Wales first. I think people out there feel that the government...
Okay, we need to have this door open.
...working against them and going after issues that don't really matter. You know, forcing health chiefs to decarbonise their estates and to go after green targets when they're missing their own health targets. So I think we need to have a reset button to make sure the Welsh Government is working for the people of Wales, not for ideology.
Dan Thomas, leader of Reform in Wales. Congratulations and thanks for joining us. We're going to go over to Rita now, who's got some more results from the English elections.
Yes, indeed, Clive. A couple of quick results here. First of all, from Cambridge, as you can see, this is a Labour loss. Labour have come short by 5 seats of retaining control of Cambridge, and they had a majority of 4 before these elections were held. You can see here they're still the largest group on the council with 17 seats. The Greens on 12, Lib Dems on 11, and the Conservatives on 1, and that pale pink is your party, Jeremy Corbyn and Zara Sultana's party, and they have a presence here on Cambridge Council. They have 1 councillor here. With the change since last time these seats were fought, it's a straightforward swap. Labour have lost 6 seats to the Greens, and you can see here the vote share. The Greens are in the lead here in Cambridge. It is, of course, a council where there will be a strong student presence. Maybe that's reflected in these results. Labour down 18% in terms of comparison with the last time these seats were fought, and the Greens up by 14%. I want to show you one more council where I think they are still counting. They are indeed. There are 18 of the 21 seats declared, but we do know that this is a Labour hold. Labour's lead is now unassailable, and you can see here they're in the ascendancy by quite some way in terms of the seats. 34 seats for Labour, 11 for Reform, 10 for the Conservatives. But it's always the change that's so interesting, isn't it? And look, Labour have lost 9, Reform have taken 10, and in terms of the vote share, it is Reform that's come out on top. And this is another of those councils where they are
Queen is dead.
electing a third of all the councillors on the council. and another of these areas where clearly Reform are doing very well, but because of the system, because they're only a third of the seats up, that is potentially holding them back from actually taking control of councils that maybe, we don't know, but maybe they might otherwise be able to take control of. Laura.
Thank you, Rita. And important to note, there are some places where Labour is holding. Clearly for them, the overall picture is very, very difficult. Let's just look at the overall numbers in England for all the parties at the moment. Nigel Farage is about to hit 700 more seats. He's on 694. You can see there that Labour is falling away along with the Conservatives. And let's go to a particularly politically charged part of the country, if you like, Sunderland, where, of course, nearly 10 years ago, it was the first place to declare that it wanted to leave the European Union, that regional vote, which became very symbolic on that night. Richard Moss is there for us, and, you know, time's gone by. That was part of the country, Richard, where Labour would be weighing the votes, or, you know, the old joke, pinning the rosette on the donkey, and it would be elected as long as the rosette was red. But bad for Labour there tonight. What's made the difference?
Well, I mean, this is the very sports centre, actually, where that referendum count was held. And we saw those scenes of Brexit campaigners celebrating. 10 years on, as you say, Labour have been absolutely wiped out here. They're on 3 councils at the moment. Reform UK now control the council. They have 42. They're going to win more. The Liberal Democrats are going to end up as the opposition. But actually, one thing Reform UK and Labour seem to agree on, that it's national factors that have tipped the balance here. The unpopularity of the government, and certainly Reform UK saying the popularity of Keir Starmer on the doorstep has turned this city from, you know, a Labour city for 52 years into one that Reform UK will now dominate. And that means very bad news for the 3 MPs here. And probably looking at results, almost any Labour MP in the North East at the moment will be thinking, there's no future for me if this continues. Because, you know, these are terrible, terrible results for Labour in a place they used to count for granted. They're clinging to a few crumbs of comfort. They've come second in some of the seats they've lost and hope they can build back from there. But they are going to be a rump in this council. They're going to have very little influence, and Reform UK are going to be able to do almost what they want.
That is incredible if you think of the history of that area. If we just look though more widely across
Goodbye, Labour.
Across your patch, Reform.
You poor little things. Ah.
England so far. The Greens up 14, Labour down 61. Richard, you said that very much the national picture has played into this, people's frustration and disappointment with the Labour government. But when you've been on the trail talking to voters in the last few weeks, is it your sense that this is a temporary 2 fingers up to Labour because of what people perceive as the lack of progress? Or do you feel in your bones that this might be more of a permanent move away?
I think there are short-term factors, like the unpopularity of the government, but there are also long-term ones. Labour, you know, has had this. I mean, in fact, the 2024 general election perhaps was a bit of a misleading one in terms of some quite shallow majorities, and there were warning signs then that Reform UK and the North East were coming a strong second in places like Sunderland and other parts of the region. So I think it's been coming for a while, and it's reached a kind of tipping point now. We had Reform UK win as strongly as this in Durham last year. So
I hope he goes.
in action in this.
But I think he's too stubborn, narcissistic and arrogant to take any responsibility for his actions.
Places like this, that you can no longer say that, you know, the Conservatives are the main opposition here, it's Reform UK. But not only that, they are becoming the party of local government.
Nothing is forever. Richard, thank you very much indeed for joining us. In another part of the North East, Labour's held on in North Tyneside. But let's talk about a different party. You can see the snappers there lining up to take a picture of none other than Sir Ed Davey, grinning away. He loves nothing more than a stunt. And today, Vicky Young, still with me in the studio here, he's got a decent reason to be grinning. The Lib Dems have still got some target seats that haven't yet come in, but so far, have they? Well, has he got a reason to be looking like a Cheshire cat, or does he just love the attention?
I mean, look, he loves doing all this. And
He really does.
Some in his party think it's great. Others are saying that, you know, he needs to do something slightly different, take a different approach. I mean, the Lib Dems have traditionally done well at local elections. It's always been that there's an area, they build up support, they sometimes get the council, they win the council. Richmond and South West London being one of them. Today, they've won every single seat on the council.
Yeah, we were joking in the middle of the night. It's like a one-party state.
Yeah. But, you know, that's the sort of area. And then in the last general election, of course, they won a lot of MPs. They won more seats than they might have expected. So now it's about where do they go from there. So they are still looking to make gains. They will make gains. And I guess it's about how they progress from there. They're looking at places like Surrey, for example, where they are hoping to make gains there.
And there are new councils there, aren't there? So just to understand that.
They still think there is room for them to progress. And I suppose it's about what do they do after that? How do they use their influence? You know, there's been some criticism from some in the party about that we've got more than 70 MPs. Why aren't we making more of a dent, making more of an impression? Now, you know, Ed Davey would say that they had a very critical position on Donald Trump, for example, the US president, and that they made a lot of headlines through that. They would say that they were more critical before Keir Starmer was doing that. So they do think they've still got room, but you know, it's a crowded field. That's what we've been talking about a lot today, haven't we? About five-party politics in England, and it's harder to get your voice heard, but they certainly look like, you know, they're still holding up in the areas that they've been traditionally strong in.
But one Lib Dem strategist said to me recently, look, you have to understand, we play a different game. We look at things in a very local lens. We're not trying to play things nationally. Are they saying that to try and spin themselves out of the fact they're maybe not making enough progress?
Yeah.
Or is that genuine?
Yeah, no, I mean, it's true, but I think it's slightly gone the other way around, hasn't it? Because they've got this huge number of MPs. They are, you know, they are the third party, aren't they, in Westminster? So, you know, but it's, yeah, what do you do with that? And what is their strategy? Now, they will show...
Well, they can shut up for a while because I'm kind of bored of them now.
...year in a row of making progress and holding the councils they've got. So they would also say that, you know, they're not going back...
That's what I think of you, honey.
Did lose Hull.
That's what I think of you. But we'll be doing the news later tonight anyway.
Stockport, I mean, just...
Right, let's have a couple of games and then I'm going to chill. What time is it? If I roll till 5...
In Scotland, where they're...
Yeah, I'll do that.
And of course, we'll zip over to them when there are results. But just to stick on the Lib Dems for a second, I mean, we can show you all the places...
I'll roll till 5, then I'll be back at 7.
Wokingham, Winchester, St Albans, South Cambridgeshire. I mean, it's sort of a list of...
Everyone loves a triaseg.
Not completely all affluent, but, you know, pretty nice parts of the south of England. And it's possible, is it not, with a fair wind?
I don't think he will.
Might actually end
He's too arrogant, the geezer.
With the biggest number of councillors in England, which, in a funny way, given in Westminster, I think it's fair to say they haven't been making as much impact as they like. That's quite topsy-turvy, isn't it?
But I guess it's where, and you know, some have said, you know, their opponents would say, well, look, you know, they've been the protest vote. What they would say, actually, in areas like all of these councils,
where did we say that the thing was?
They will say,
I've got to remember.
Vote to keep them in place because people like what they're doing in
Let's try the probes one.
Areas. So they see that as an endorsement of what they were already doing. But it is the question of where do they go from there? How much more room is there for them to expand that? And they have always, you know, Ed Davey didn't in the last section, talked about knocking down the blue wall, attracting those disaffected Conservative voters. Now, of course, there are some areas of the country where they are going to reform, but as you said, in these more affluent places, they're not going so much to...
That's what I'm saying, he won't.
...going to the Liberal Democrats. But is there a ceiling on what they can achieve there?
Starmer's a scumbag.
...for, though, about Labour, and actually...
let's see. If we do... What was the one I said we're doing? Buried City. So Buried City...
...has been elected there, but overall...
We need our thingy to get to the top.
How this is a very difficult...
Them to get to the top. Have we got any keys for Buried City?
410 Downing Street. Interestingly, though, Louise...
Yeah, we have. We've got Buried City key there.
...is quite an influential person on the soft left of the Labour...
And the rest are for Riventide.
...has given quite a clear...
Right, Buried City, so...
...that it's not about to be...
Is that enough? I think it is.
Go. Yeah, she's sort of hedging her bets a little bit because she's talking about we mustn't have a messy contest. I mean, the obvious point here, a leadership contest while you're in power... I mean, I know, you know, the Tories did it a lot, but a lot would say, and a lot of Conservatives would say, they were very much punished at the ballots for doing...
Who should we have named Gavin?
...to do that while they're in power.
What are we talking about here?
...as a huge distraction. But Louise does go on to say, but Keir Starmer has to change his ways, and if he doesn't...
What are you kids on about now?
...he might have to go.
But just to be clear, though, that's the kind of signal from somebody with a big voice in the Labour Party saying... not quite yet. So if we're interpreting this for people who are...
Hey, what are you kids on about now?
Oh, is Labour about to crash into a leadership contest? We've heard some very stern words from some union leaders and some MPs on the left, but coming from a different part of the party, there's a sort of, yeah, not ready
Well, they need a candidate. I mean, this is the truth, isn't it?
Don't worry, Seven. She's just flirting with me. That's what she does.
He's very much on
She just
the
flirts
left of the
with
party.
Gav.
You know, they don't want.
Right, where are we going again?
It all then becomes about who you
That
don't
way.
want. And if your candidate is not ready, Andy Burnham might be a candidate that
pigeons.
people would want. He has currently got a job
Okay.
as the Mayor of Greater Manchester. He doesn't have a parliamentary seat and was blocked last time, so he would need... There's a few hurdles he needs to get over before he could be a candidate. And then Angela Rayner, there's plenty in the party who don't want her to be the person. So it's much more complicated than just getting rid of Keir Starmer.
Here's an interesting thing, though. People have often talked up Andy Burnham because, in theory, they say he's terribly popular. The northwest of England is somewhere where
Oh, I need one of them.
terribly popular. The results today suggest that Labour is not at all popular in the northwest of England. Do you think that harms his chances?
It possibly does, but then, of course, his supporters would say, but the point about Andy Burnham is he can win in places where the rest of Labour can't win. If he was standing in a by-election in Greater Manchester...
Then it would all
Yeah, dude,
But, you know,
I'm going to the JKV thing. I've got a key if you want to come with me. Because I'm only looking
for blueprints.
Anywhere in the country. Let's zoom in though
Yo,
to
dude.
Council Kirklees, where Labour has had a rough
Where it's gone.
former councillor.
I'm gonna have to find it, aren't I?
Carol Patterson, who I believe lost his seat. Thank you very much indeed for joining us.
Might be on my shirt. My other shirt. What did I wear last night?
Difficult.
1 minute.
Sorry, could you repeat that? Sorry.
Certainly. Why do you think the results are so difficult for Labour in Kirklees?
Well, we've really been squeezed here in Kirklees, I think, the Labour Party.
I'll have to find it in a minute.
The Greens on the one hand and Reform on the other.
And why do you think that's happening?
I'll rest it on there for a minute.
We've been in power in Kirklees.
Right.
Sorry.
Yeah, thank you for contending with the line.
No, wrong way.
The delay.
So, sorry, why do I think it's happened? I've got a very funny echo, yeah.
Well, if we're trying to contend with the line, why do you think things have gone so badly wrong?
I don't think it's anything to do with the campaign that Labour has run here in Kirklees. We've been really squeezed by the Greens and the Reform because of the national campaigns that they've been running. The campaign from Reform to get Starmer out, I mean, that's all that we've heard from Reform locally. They know nothing about Kirklees. Residents of Kirklees have never seen Reform on their streets before. But it's cut through because people are, as we've heard so many times, frustrated with perhaps the pace of change, the visibility of change of the government's policies.
And who do you hold responsible for that, Carol? We've heard several union leaders have already said...
Where have we? I do love a blame game.
...policy, but also possibly...
All right, I've got a blame for you, Seg. I'm single because of you. Oh, sugar me. That didn't work out too well, did it?
But what would your solution be to the problems that you've had?
I think we need to reset both locally and nationally. I don't think it's necessarily about changing our policies, either locally or nationally. I'm very happy with the society that I believe the Labour Party nationally is trying to paint these days, but that's not cutting through, unfortunately, to people. So I think we need a reset. I say nationally, it's...
Yeah, I'm single because of you. That's what I'm saying. It's your fault.
Or one man, or even two men for that matter. With the whole party, both locally and nationally.
I'm not going to shoot.
To reset.
Hey, listen, wherever you are, come with me if anyone's about. I'm going to the Buried City JKV building.
What do you mean by a reset?
And I'm only looking for blueprints because I'm doing a reset. So if you want to come and get some guns, come with me.
The message is getting over. Whether or not we are listening or hearing, I should say, the people, what they're telling us. I think we need to listen more carefully.
No worries, man.
Perhaps reframe the work that we're doing in a message that gets back to people, which unfortunately I think is being lost. Because I do think, as I say, the society that this Labour government is actually trying to bring about is so much better than any society that we've seen in England for many.
No, all good, all good.
Through all the years of austerity, we've battled against that for so.
No, it's all good, man.
It's been a bit hard for us, I think, really, actually.
Whereabouts are you? Oh, yeah, bro, do you want to go to the JKV building? As I said, I've got a key, but I'm only looking for blueprints because I'm doing reset.
We do need to tell people exactly.
It is next to the parking garage.
Carol Patterson,
There's space travel.
for joining us and also for contending.
Look on the map, next to the parking garage, space travel.
There, so thank you very much indeed for bearing.
Yeah, I've got a key for one of the rooms. You can have the guns, man. I'm only looking for blueprints.
Now we're in a situation we can just look and.
Yeah, all right, give me a second, man. I've got to just look in this room.
Up. We have the SNP on 36, Labour on 2, Conservative on 2, Liberal Democrat on 2. With me is Brian Taylor, the political commentator. Brian, what does this show? It shows that SNP are in the game, but what it doesn't show is the fact that mostly their votes decline.
John Swinney is heading back to he's being returned as First Minister. Let us bear in mind how big that is. He's never won an election in his own right. As leader of the party, he was leader of the party shortly after Alex Salmond stood down right at the beginning. Didn't go very well. Stood down as leader after a disappointing result in European elections. But now he is back. He's won in his own right. He's entitled to feel proud. But it seemed to me that when he was talking to you earlier, his pride was very constrained. It was very, very gentle. He wouldn't say an early demand for independence referendum.
That was interesting because he hasn't.
Because talk about deals.
Because the truth is that has not been a big feature of the campaign. And also part of the reason that I think he's come back in his own right and has got a good majority is the fact that he steadied the ship after some very rocky times, after Nicola Sturgeon into Hamza Yusuf, and then
Nice.
he's never going to come back and be leader before.
Yeah, I'm doing that expedition thing, so I've got like 2 days, man, and I've just got to get rid of all of the keys I've got.
Those days getting elected by the back door. You know what? Those same Labour MSPs would rather be delighted to get in by the back door now, and they're going to need it. They're going to need that.
They are going to need it by
the SNP are piling up the seats.
By contrast, they will not. By contrast, they will not.
I think it's the top. I don't know if it's. I think it's the top floor.
A large number on the list, and there was talk previously of could there be a series of parties who were pro-union voting together to install Anas Sarwar, even if they weren't the largest party, install Anas Sarwar as First Minister. I always thought that was for the birds. It's now for the eagles. It's not going to happen.
I think it's this.
One casualty that we're expecting and waiting for is Angus Robertson, who ran the campaign, perhaps spent far too much.
Yeah, it's this. I think it's this building or the next one. Yeah, this one here it is.
The question is for Angus Robertson, when we talk to him, is will he return to Westminster or attempt to return
double
to
check.
Westminster in one of the two by-elections that are now, because Stephen Gethin and also Flynn.
Yeah, this is the JKV building.
And that means that there's 2 by-elections.
They are back.
It must be on the top floor.
Stand down from their Westminster seats in good time, as they have to. They will sort out the staff and all that sort of thing, but then they will stand down in 2 by-elections. It would be open to members of the party, of course.
No, it's not. It's got to be the next floor. It's normally on this side here. There's a locked door. It must be another floor up.
He was formerly leader of the parliamentary group, and rather successful, if I may say so, leader of the parliamentary group, a good speaker in the House. He may wish to do that. He may feel that the Scunner factor has over.
Where the heck is it then? I'm so confused, man.
A number of weeks ago from his constituency was that he was campaigning.
Yeah,
running
it's not.
Of the national campaign across Scotland.
Hi, this is right. This is the JKV building with the locked door, right? Is it here?
The canvas returns in his own patch, his own backyard.
I'm not sure where it is. I'm sure it's in this building, though.
Hasn't been enough. Hasn't been enough.
The locks. I've got a key for this building, but I don't know where it is. I thought it was on this.
That was
there was talk there of a reform, as you say entirely rightly. There was talk.
Ah, that's why.
I think it's 4th in that constituency.
Nice one. Thank you very much.
Charts. You see the reform number block going.
Hi.
But of course it is, because they didn't stand before.
I just go straight over now to the Declaration in Edinburgh.
I, Paul Lawrence, returning officer.
It might be this floor.
Edinburgh Central constituency.
Nope.
Declare that
must be the next one.
The total number of votes given to each candidate was as follows: Bonnie Prince Bob, Independent, 107.
No, it's not here. It's definitely not here. That is really crazy, man.
Chris Crichton,
it's not here.
Independent, 30.
Is it the next building?
James Dalgleish.
I'm sure it was here. Yeah, that's what I always thought. but it's
98.
we can try. Okay. As I say, I only want the blueprints. Anyone can have whatever's in there.
2,168.
Go at the top and then just work our way down.
Scottish Libertarian Party,
Uh,
6. Joe Mauer, Scottish Conservative and Unionist Party, 2,000.
right, not that one. Ah, well. That didn't go too well, did it?
Craig Murray, Alliance to Liberty
Oh, dear.
Scotland, 100.
I didn't figure that. Well, you might as well... Listen, you might as well kill me, dude, and take all the stuff, man. I've got a good patina and all of that.
876.
No, honestly, it's all good, bro. Take the stuff, man. I've got the key in there, so just keep it for the next time. Oh, cheers.
Angus Robertson,
Thank you.
Scottish National Party, 7,702.
Yeah, we'll have it anyway. You came with me here. Here's the key.
Lorna Slater,
Just take it for the next time round. I'm pretty sure it's in the next building. So just take that key and just use it on your next one. Here. Take that for your next run. Yeah? No worries, bro. No, I'm the same. No, as I say, I've only had this like a month, and I'm doing the expedition thing, and it's like 2 days' time, so I know everything's getting reset, and I've got like 20 flipping keys, so and I don't really use them. I've got a Pharaoh there if you want it. You might as well have all this shit because I'm not going to use it. Yeah. So, all right, cool. Thanks anyway, man.
Well,
See you,
that
mate.
was the moment when Lorna Slater became the first constituency elected Green MSP, and Angus Robertson came third.
It is. It's a Portillo moment. It's a Slater moment. It's also a Robertson moment. Coming third. That is a dreadful result for Angus Robertson, who is a senior figure, cabinet secretary, the director of the campaign in Scotland, former MP, former leader, as I said, in Westminster. Congratulations to Lorna Slater. She's been through it all, being ousted as co-leader or dropped down as co-leader, and now back there. The very first parliamentary constituency won by the Scottish Greens, a remarkable result for the Greens in Edinburgh Central. Incredible. A constituency that has a really varied history. I remember it being a Tory stronghold with Alec way back in the days. It's been Labour as well. Now it's Green. It's very definitely Green by a substantial margin.
So that certainly puts the SNP's gas at a peak for a minute, because actually what's going to happen is now we're going to have some more constituencies, but what will happen now is the interest will transfer to the lists, because that's where the Greens will pick up even more support than having a constituency MP, and that then leads to the quality of the deals.
The Greens have only stood in 6 constituencies. Because of that, they didn't necessarily expect to win any, although they had high hopes, and this was one of the ones where they had high hopes. But because they have very, very few constituency seats, the second vote, which in Scotland is a corrective vote, it's designed to correct imbalances from the first vote. That means that they could benefit from that. Reform, no seats gained so far in the constituencies, but that corrective mechanism will kick in again and give them a fair win of constituencies on the list.
But let's
in the
just be
Scottish
quite
Parliament.
clear about how the list operates.
Oh, there. Sorry.
Of the vote.
I weren't playing with no. Sorry, Mum. I was miles away. That was a geezer. I don't know, some guy from France or whatever. I haven't got a clue. He sounded French or something or other. Yeah, cross-platform. I'm on PC at the minute.
Got constituency seats as a higher.
Sorry, I was miles away there.
If you get me.
Kind of forgot I was live.
List seats once that division is done.
Got to have a laugh, haven't you?
To win list seats, as I say, designed to be corrective. The SNP
Yeah, cross-platform. It's this and Xbox and whatever else has got, or PlayStation, whatever else has got it.
They don't depend upon it now. They only took 2 seats on the list last
But
time.
no, it's the only game where I don't go around just murdering people. It's just like, nah.
But we are
If I wanted to play Call of Duty, I'd play that, you know.
the constituencies declared.
But I've just got so many different keys. The expedition on the game means the game resets, so I lose everything. But you get more skill points, so I can have a better character. Right, let's see. Night Raid Stellamontis. Locked gate on blue gate. Never done that. Fewer active return points. No active really. Collect security cards. Nah, I'm not interested. I want Night Raid on Stellamontis because we'll get some good loot. Right, so get rid of all of this.
To Scottish politics, designed by the Labour Party in discussion with the Liberal
Repair.
prior to the creation of this Parliament to prevent any party
And we take ammo.
from gaining a majority on a minority of the popular vote.
Well, in a moment we're going to get a forecast for Scotland, but let's just be quite clear. There'll be no likelihood of any kind of formal power sharing or anything like that coalition. It will be vote by vote.
We need ammo. What did I say? Stella Montis.
The absolute number one vote is to install the First Minister.
Stella Montis security checkpoint. I know where that is.
MSPs. It's not a presidential election.
Health.
So they cast their ballot for 129 MSPs. Those 129
Flames, because you get idiots on here.
Convene in the Parliament behind me there, and they vote one of their numbers.
And
the new First Minister. Who's it going to be? It's going to be John Smith.
It's going to be John Smith. There'll be absolutely no challenge.
Nobody else.
Let's see.
He's proved, as you say, that he has become leader in his own right.
He has indeed, and the idea of a coalition is I never thought it was particularly serious.
That's the one.
But he isn't going to get. It doesn't look like he gets the 65.
Blaze grenade, that one, and we need the shield.
In his own right to govern without doing pacts with other parties. Very interesting. In the interview he did with you, he said he wanted to cooperate.
Standard edition for 16 quid. That's what I got. Same as I got it on Steam. It's literally the only game I've got so far on bloody PC.
Vote for First Minister.
It's really bad. As I say, the hours I've put into this is embarrassing.
Let's look now.
Like really, really embarrassing.
Forecast for Scotland. There it is, that constituency.
It's really bad.
Actually, the SNP.
I think I'm on.
The lowest.
Oh, it's really bad. I just don't want to.
63, which is a good showing for the
I've had it.
Democrats. That's lowest of
What?
4.
Just coming up to 3 weeks, and I think I've done nearly 400 hours on it. It's bad, isn't it?
Conservative 2 and 3 and Greens sitting there. Not a likelihood that they will get another constituency.
Right, let's start that baby up.
At all in that forecast.
60, 60, 60. That should be okay.
There was a correction there, and also no likelihood on our forecast.
Shield.
The reform will return an MSP from the constituencies.
From the constituency, the key point being, of course, the top
link.
up list. So
Shield.
Follow on the link between the two. It's given the range of constituency seats there, given the fact that you have the total for the list. People tend to vote in similar ways. They don't necessarily always have to switch. You don't have to switch. You can vote for the same party. You can vote for different parties between vote one and vote.
Discord. Oh, I see it, yeah. Administrative officer, executive officer roles involved. Administration, who can apply. Yeah, work for the government. Job's a job at the end of the day. Governments can change, so... Hello, Saki One.
Have your eyes adjusted to the dark yet, Raider?
I need to find the loading bay, which is there.
Most of Toledo is asleep, so my suppliers say that Ark is twice as vigilant after sunset.
And the security is... not there. Not there. It might be there. The map's moved around, so... How you doing, Sock? Let's not go that way. Do not fancy that. Changed my mind about that, actually. And this is a dead end anyway. Yeah, this is a dead end. So... we need to find our way out of here. Oh, security box. Didn't know this was here. Sorry about the weekend. I forgot, Sock. Brain was just where it was, man. Hope you're good. Need that. Give that to someone in a minute. Robotic sandbox. Whatever that is. Right, this is what we were looking for. But we need to go up the rope. Ah, what a bit of luck that is. Yeah, I'm good, mate. I'm good. You know me, just taking over the world. Oh. Who's that talking? Hello, you've got a nice voice. I do not want to see all of them. Someone's playing guitar as well, like, what is that about? Nah, I haven't heard nothing from TF, man. Sadly. Hello, Mr. Guitar Man. Yo, do you wanna, what do you call it? I've got to get rid of it, because I'm not gonna use... Oh, did it come out? No. Yeah. Do you want the... One of yous want that, the Torrente? I'm not gonna use it. Play us a tune, man. Oh, yeah. Yeah, baby. I thank you, sir. I thank you for your service. Alright, we're going to start up this end. No, it'll take a while. Sock. Don't worry, I'll teach you the ropes, baby. Good, I needed one of them shields. It takes a while to get used to, but my god, it's addictive. All I'm looking for is blueprints at the minute. As I say, I'm resetting my character because I want more skill points, which means you can have a better... more skills for your character. So I'm going to lose everything. And I've got loads of shit. So... so now I'm just looking for blueprints, which I'll be able to give to someone and I can carry them over. For guns and bombs and all that. Okay, none there. And hopefully, no one will kill me in between, which I think will probably happen. I can't fight that big thing that's there. Where is it? Don't know where it went. I'll take them for guns. Oh, love them. Let's change that in a minute for one of them. Is that both of them? Okay. Let's try this one. Man, I'm getting nothing now. But all this stuff, you just need to learn what you need for what. Because there's so many different things you've got to collect. Right, so that's done. We need to get to the other side. Right, we're gonna try and not fall and die. Yeah, we do not want to fight that thing. Right, and just take the other side now. You commit the skill tree. Yeah. It's called expeditions. If you go to, because basically you level up to 75 and then that's it. That's maximum. But if you get a skill point for every time you level up, you half of the skill tree is empty, and then you get an extra 6-7 points. I think it is when you do an expedition. But expedition just resets everything, which is I'm doing Sunday. I think it is, and everything's going to be gone. So if you want any guns or any weapons or any shit, I'll have to play with you before Sunday and I'll give you everything. Because I'm going to lose it all. Still at it, my friend. Nice. Cracks me up, man. Flutes and guitars and people are just... It is what it is, isn't it? Yeah, I'll show you. It's on... Here. Oh no, you can't see it from here. Hello. Yeah, ain't much. We ain't got much today here anyway. Try another one. Let's just double check something. Yeah, that's right. I'll do this because later today, yeah, probably at 7. I'll do this a bit later today. This probably later tonight, yeah. Mate, I'm on it every day. It's terrible. Hello. Yo, do you want any of my shit? Because all I'm doing is looking for blueprints. One sec. Get on here. 1 minute. Buried city key. Don't do the thing yet. Don't do the thing yet if you want the key. Here. You don't want it? Right then, I was going to give you my key. Yeah, some people... Wait, 1 minute. I smashed it last night, Sark. Check this one out. I went to sleep on bed with one of these like that. And I woke up and the whole lot went over my face. That's good, isn't it? Yeah, it's just a little quick story for you there. Bit exciting, I know. I know, it's exciting stuff. Right. I'll show you where it is. It's on the, so you go to your radar, not trials, no, skill tree. Yeah, so look. So that's like 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 50, let's say 60, 65, 70. So you're 80 points down. So if you do an expedition, you get another 6 points, and every expedition you do once a month gives you that next 6 points, but you're sacrificing everything that you've gained to get those extra 6 points in this tree, which is a pain in the arse, but in a year's time, 2 years' time, you might be able to, you know what I'm saying, get this fully, and they'll probably upgrade and add more bits to this, but it'll mean your character will be able to run faster or do specific things, climb quicker, dive further, or you know what I mean. So it's worth doing. Yeah. So jump on later. Just send me a text or whatever, and then we'll roll from there. Right. So I'm just if you're still watching, look at this. This will make your brain hurt. Right. This is all the shit I'm losing. So I'm losing. Let's see the guns. I kept. Oh yeah, the Bobcat, the Hull Cracker rocket launcher, another Bobcat, and I've got all the blueprints so I can make all of these. Yeah, the blueprints I've just collected. These, so I'm gonna. Where they go? Value unsorted category. So these are the blueprints I've recollected, and then I'm gonna carry them over so I can use them again. Oh shit! Where did that go? Oh my god! I'm losing my mind. Yeah. I've got to look for one of the microphones. I just knocked it off. What an idiot. Yeah, I knocked it off. I've got to find that then. Yeah, what's happening, Ben? Benjamin Buttons. Yeah, I'm going to jump on at 7 and do the election stuff, and then probably do some gaming after that. Where did that go? Ah, oh, mate, I don't know. It's here somewhere, though. I should look for that now. Yeah, you should do the expeditions before. There's 3 expeditions. So you can keep doing. I think there's 3 or 4, and I haven't done any, but anytime you do it, you lose everything. And I think you've got to get to level 20 first before you can do it. So get to level 20, you can do it. Level 20, then do it. So you're not really going to be losing too much. Yeah, cool. Not a problemo. Right, I'm going to be here, but I've got to look for my flipping microphone because I just lost it. This will be fun. Oh dear. All right. First we'll check on the table. It was on, you dick. It's still on there. It magnified to the thing. That's all right. At least we've got it. Right. Level 6, yeah. Get to level thingy. And then... yeah, then do it. Right. Here we go, let's do a bit more. I'm only going to roll till, say, another half hour, then I'm going to jump off. Right, let's see. Where was we again? Stella Montis. So, Stella Montis to the security. Let's try again. Stella Montis, security, shields. Yeah, there we go. I'm actually going to put myself some music on in the background, I think. Bit of Spotify. Little bit of a vibe, you know. Will I need to set up Discord because you're on PC? No, I'll be at it might be easier, yeah, to jump on Discord and then just join the... We'll figure it out later. Yeah, because I always use Discord chat. Yeah, you're probably right. Yeah, we'll sort it out later. Right, where are we going? Security. I don't know where it is. I do not know this. Our cafeteria. Technology. Right, it's here somewhere. Auditorium. Where they're all killing each other. There.
Let's go to the lobby.
So we're gonna die in here because this is where everyone kills each other. Up there. No, that's towards the station. Well, we can't get up there. Is that a lift? Nope. Okay, back we go. Buildings this then. Loading bay medical research. So this is the... assembly admin. Oh, it is that one. Okay, we know that one now. Is that a big boy? Yes, it is. Right, let's hit that. Do you want help with that thing? Do you want help with that thing? Where the bloody hell is it? Oh yeah, cool. Got it. Oh, sorry, mind yourself. Got it. No, I was getting that, man.
What?
I was getting that robot. I thought it was shooting you.
I said I'm doing trials. I misread them.
Oh, sorry. I thought you needed help. Sorry. See, you try and help people and they're still not happy. You see what I mean, Saki? You try and be a hero and, you know, this is what happens. Try and be a nice guy. See what I'm saying? There's no good place. I'm gonna bounce. Yeah, man. This is what happens. Right, we're trying to find.
Let's move to that location.
Hmm. Oh, sorry, man. Nice one, thank you. Yo, dude, do you know where the security thing is here? I've got a key for it. I only want the blueprints. No? I don't know where it is, the security thing. It's here somewhere, anyway. Oh, well. Hi. I could have sworn it was like in a corner. Yeah, I know, but if they do, I'll take them out. I'll still be very, very, very cautious of them. I haven't got a clue where it is on this map. It's changed. Yeah, I've noticed that it changes every time. I think it might be there. Electrical. Perception. Unless it has moved. Oh, it must be through there then. Yeah, okay. Ah, there it is.
Down there.
Oh, you can get in here from another way. So this isn't the place. I thought it was. Right, so it's that. Hmm. Nice, Ben. All right, time for one more, then it's time for a break. Whoa. Well, let's see if we've got another... Oh, I could take that with me, actually. That's perfect, that's perfect, that's perfect. 49. Okay. No, we don't want that. Right, let's try that again. No, Ben, I'm jumping off at 5 o'clock, man. I'm only going to be on there for this one, and then I'm going to do the live news thing at 7, and then we'll jump on after that. PC gamer now, you see. Games on a PC. That's what I do, mate.
When no one else noticed, I was there for you, babe. Right from the start, I saw the beauty in you. Now you've grown up into a lady. Everybody wants to know. Hers to see you with some other guy. Well, I wanna know.
Right, security. There's no security. What the hell's going on? What? There's 2 levels, bro. Never even knew that. Mm-mm-mm. 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 Right, so this is Robotic Sandbox. Medical storage. No idea. Let's just go for a run. This is the place. So it is this bright, okay. Hi. You want some of the stuff in security? There's an anvil in there if you want it. No? Alright, cool. Red light, that's crap. Nothing. By the way, security's open if you want some stuff in there, man. I left it open. There's loads of shit in there. Right, kids, thank you very much for joining me, and I will see you later tonight at 7. Don't be a hero. I'm not a hero. It's just what I do, guys.